Redacted is brought to you by Antlion Audio's Mod Mic, and I just noticed they have something new is coming. So I think they have some new products coming. Ooh, very fancy. Also, I've been having issues with my computer this morning, my streaming computer. So if for whatever the reason the stream goes down, it's not the end of the world. I'll have to boot back up and come back on. But I've had one or two issues this morning. Should be all resolved right now. Also, and this is more for Twerk and Bored, I do have the individual screens. We've talked about this before, having a highlight screen.
Yep.
They're not finished, but I wanted to get feedback not only from Twerk and Bored, but from the community as well. So this is the one here for Twerk. This is the one for Bored. And then this is the one, obviously, for me with my bright green screen in the corner. So, well, I have stuff on the side. I want to hear your guys' feedback. We'll be using them today. And
I like that.
Yeah. So we'll.
That's definitely different than what I had in mind, and I like it way more.
Yeah.
I don't want Twerk to be called Boredgamer, and I don't particularly.
Oh, you don't want to be called Noobifier. I totally forgot that we had these ones on here. So give me 1 second, and I can change this really quickly.
I really like being hello and welcome to Small Star Citizen. So this
like
week
Boredgamer's
talk
lost a lot
about
of weight,
all the news.
and that Noobifier looks a lot
Give me all
sexier
the
now.
bits and bobs about the news, mate.
And then I need to
London, me. I bought a pair of Star Citizen. Oi!
switch you guys around a little bit.
A lot of people say bits and
And
bobs.
then we're going to do the same thing here as well. So just give me 1 second.
That is racist.
I totally forgot we had these. You guys.
Oh man. Oh god. I'm so sorry, guys. You had to witness his British racism.
Something new is coming from Mod Mike. I just saw that on the thing too.
Yes. Ooh.
That's fucking looking. Mm.
If you can't wait, you can apparently buy it now on Amazon or something. What?
I think that's for the older product.
Yeah.
If you don't want to wait for the new product, you can still buy the older product on Amazon.
You can't wait for the new thing. You could still get the thing you could before.
Yes. Also, can I get hell yeah in chat if audio is good, please and thank you for everybody. If everybody's on the same sort of level, that would be fantastic.
Now I'm on the right side. I'm feeling better.
You feeling better?
I just want to chat just cause. So sorry, ignore my hell yeah. I just want a hell yeah.
You just want a hell yeah for the sake of hell yes?
I mean, why not? Don't you?
Yeah.
I'm so sick. Fuck.
Okay, cool. Audio's good. Twerk17. Sir, what have you been up to?
Well, obviously, you guys saw that I wasn't on the podcast last week, and Noobifier took my place and did a great job. I watched the show. I enjoyed
You did do a really good job.
crap out of it. It was awesome.
I was looking at those YouTube comments too, and people were really liking
Like
that.
I got a lot of I missed you, Twerk, but Noobifier did a good job. Oh, go to like the end of this video because this is what I'm gonna talk about a bit more.
The end of this video? How far?
Yeah.
Like the loot crate unboxing?
And no, so we did open a loot crate today. That should go up on YouTube. There was some cool stuff. Source, you're wearing the shirt from it, right?
I am wearing the shirt from it right now.
It was an Assassin's Creed shirt, which
Yeah,
really
it's like
cool.
a mixture of like the pirate logo from Assassin's Creed, but then the shirt, if you took away the logo, I feel like I'm in Star Trek.
There you go. You can go there. I see it. Okay, cool. So one of the biggest things that I did, and which is why I wanted to go to this part, is my stream is actually at 60 FPS now. The gameplay is.
Nice.
It was a really big pain in the ass. A lot of people asked what I was using before capture card wise and what I'm using now. I don't use what Source uses. Source uses like these crazy Japanese capture cards.
And to be honest, I'm not even streaming at 60 right now. I'm streaming at 30 because the gameplay. Yeah, because my gameplay is I think 720/30 still because I haven't changed it. But just because the frame rate isn't there as of right now. But coming 2.6, that'll probably change.
Okay, cool. So I guess it won't show up as 60 on the stream then today, but that's okay. I was using this capture card, the AverMedia Live Gamer HD, and they actually the C985 or so, yeah, C985, and they switched a driver on it and forced it to be 30 FPS when it used to be 60. And Kazu was in the chat, who's one of our moderators here, and he always was telling me like it doesn't look 60 FPS even if you are getting 60 FPS. So I was like, what's going on? What's going on? I started doing research. It was this, so I switched it out. We had tons of issues after I put that one in, and then they're definitely related to the Windows 10 update for sure related to that. So yeah, it was.
Yeah, it's messed around. Obviously, we were talking about that
all of
earlier.
us.
It broke
Yeah.
my capture card last week, and then this morning, my Discord audio, it just won't accept any audio coming in now. I was getting some USB errors. I had to update my motherboard and JavaScript or Java or whatever, and all kinds of crazy stuff. So
Yeah, so I got an Elgato HD60 Pro, and that's the one I went to, and there was a guy you met at where, at TwitchCon?
yes. Oh no, I've known him since PAX West.
Okay, so yeah, so Soros met a guy from Elgato and got me in contact with him, me and Matauchi actually, and we asked which card we should get. He suggested that one. I got it, and he helped me resolve the issues that we were having. So that was awesome. So he gave me a special driver to help with the problems that I was dealing with, and it works great. The stream's great, everything's fantastic, and I'm having a great time now with the stream. So I finally through all the issues, and things are awesome now. So besides me being extremely fucking sick, yeah, I'm doing good.
Right on. And Bored, what about yourself? Why don't you tell us some updated news for you?
So yeah, it makes shit eating grin kind of thing. It's so I've obviously been playing some Star Citizen this week and planning videos for stuff when 2.6 is released in the future, all that sort of jazz. But I am now a Twitch partner as well. A sneaky. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Congrats, Bored.
A stealthy, sneaky Twitch partner.
Stealthy.
Yeah, just told Saurus today, just before the stream, he went. He was quite happy. He was happier than I was, actually.
Soros was happier than I was too when I got partnered. So it was more of a sigh of relief for me, and Soros was just pumped,
I get pumped for all the guys that that get partnered on the team.
It just goes to prove that the view vampiring has paid off.
Oh,
you don't have to put as much effort in as other people, as long as you can vampire the shit out of them.
we were coming up with emote ideas. The first one I said was Bored's face with vampire teeth and blood coming out of it.
Yeah.
It has to be. It has to be.
So I appreciate everyone helping me as much as you have. But see you later, guys. I'm leaving you behind. I'm bit for the big time now. Woo! My own podcast, my own channel.
So when's your next stream gonna be? That everybody can check it out and celebrate. When's the celebration?
It'll be on Sunday. I mean, I literally ride on your coattails, Twerk, so I'll be streaming straight after you
on
a Sunday.
It's good to send over to somebody that we regularly play with, all the viewers are used to, and stuff like that. So it makes sense.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking about streaming 3 days a week rather than 2 now as well. But I'll abuse both you two and the community for ideas for remotes and stuff. As I know, this streaming thing is pretty big now. I've got to get with the times, and it's not just about those videos. But thank you very much. Honestly, genuinely, rather than me being a dick, you guys, both of you, are so helpful in getting it all set up in the first place and helping me apply to Twitch, but also the community. You guys have been so supportive of me being a bit, erratic. I know I do suffer from bipolar, and it literally this has been the best platform to both talk about me, my health, try and help some other people, but also play some fucking computer games that I love, and people seem to like the content. So many more years of that. Woo! Woo! Almost dapped.
Nice.
Whatever it's called.
I don't know. I don't know
You're
what
gonna-
you're doing.
He's
but-
dabbing, I think. It's like a reverse dab.
Oh God.
You're a first man.
It's a
That's what we do
reverse
in Britain.
dab.
That's what we do
Yeah.
here, mate. I don't
Upside
even
down
know.
dab.
It's like some sort of salute. But other than that, I've not been doing much because I've just been like, how do I do this? How do I emote? How do badge? How do sub
Yeah.
button? How
You have
do
to
sub
learn
mic attack
all
face?
the back end stuff and the
It's
taxing.
the
and...
start of everything.
Yeah.
Like streaming is hard to start in the first place, but then once you get partnered, there's a lot more to worry
What's
about.
going on? Lots of
Yeah.
people watch me. I can barely read chat. I've evolved into someone that can read shit now. I was like, look how proud I am. I can read these words as they come on the screen.
Sora, listen, the last time I went to his chat, it only took him 5 minutes to notice I was there.
Only 5 minutes this time.
It's
I think
getting
I've been
he's
to his
getting
channel and he
good.
just didn't even know I was even there.
He's
you.
getting really good, guys. Seriously.
Senpai does notice you. It is based on whether you donate and stuff. But thank you very much, genuinely. What about you, Soros? What have you been up to?
So for me, there's been a few things that I've been working on. Firstly, been playing a lot of Star Citizen, been playing a little Call of Duty here and there. Just a couple rounds in between matches.
Still
and,
enjoying
and
it?
Whatever. Yeah, I still enjoy it. Like I'm getting better. I was the top player for a couple games, which was kind of cool. Which just means like my team and the other team were fucking horrendous, but it still felt good. Been working on a new project with Jeremiah Lee.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. So started with that. Put out a couple new T-shirts. So put out my holiday shirt, the WTF holiday.
I forgot to show mine too.
And we can show those here in a second.
I'll do it at the end.
Also my new Outlaw shirt. I made another one.
Oh, nice. I've seen
That
one
goes
yet.
along. It goes along with a thing that me and Jeremiah are working on, which is top secret, super classified. And then I was gonna wait, but I think I'll just let everybody know now. I did get approved for front page for 2 months. So on
Yes.
Twitch, which is going to bring in a lot of new people outside of the Star Citizen community, which is going to be really awesome. There are going to be some changes because of that, though. So the first one that people are going to notice right away is I'm not going to be able to have song requests on for that time. So luckily, the new logic system, music logic system, is coming in with 2.6. So that should go well. If that doesn't go well, we can go with something like Monster Cat or whatever and have audio that way. The other thing, too, is during that time period, because I have to stick to that schedule no matter what, the podcast will be on my channel as soon as that starts. So if that doesn't start next week, we'll have the channel, the podcast again here on Twerk's channel. But if it does start then, as soon as that starts for its entirety, I'll be over on my channel for that. So that should be exciting. Bring a lot of new people in to Star Citizen, especially with the release of 2.6. Really, really looking forward to that. Other than that, just been working on these overlays that I'm on right now. Sweet Move Sport. And trying to figure out everything going on with that, as well as just all kinds of stuff, just all the work stuff. Got all my Benny's decals in, or decals, so we have 1,500 of them, which is really cool. This is only the dead ones here, but if you want one of those, I do it through my Level Up system, or if you come to any of the meetups, whether they be the Twitch Vancouver, PAX, CitizenCon, TwitchCon, I'll be bringing them to those. Or I'll bring them with me there for meet and greets and giving those out. So I'm really excited for people to get their hands on those.
Hey, are you gonna keep your hair dyed, or are you gonna?
I am gonna keep it dyed. I've just been really lazy. I have the bleach and the dye in my bathroom.
Oh yeah, I was just curious.
It's been all my emotes are. So I feel like I have.
So yeah, but eventually you're gonna have to change it, right?
Eventually I'll
Guys.
change it, but
Guys, I used to have
Next time you get,
Bud, you
are you
stand there.
still like next time you hit like a sub milestone?
Yeah,
change it,
maybe that's
and
why.
then change the emotes or something. You know?
Yeah, maybe that's
don't
why it's.
I'm telling you what to do with your channel. Next time you.
Next time you better do it this way.
Yeah, man.
But yeah, we had a pretty big week This past week and for Twerk, the last 2 weeks. So really quickly, before we jump into any of this stuff, we do have a giveaway from Antlion Audio, which is a mod mic.
I'm gonna start it right now.
You start that up, and what's the keyword for that? And
exclamation point mod mic.
And that is for the exact same mod mics that we're using here on the podcast. That's
now
these
you
guys.
can look attractive as BoredGamer with a mod mic.
You too could be like a partnered Twitch streamer.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. If you vampire enough. Oh.
Oh my god. But yeah, Twerk, do you want to give us briefly what your experience was like in LA when you were there for the few days for the anniversary
that's
stream?
That's true. So it was wild. I'm sorry I missed last week because again it was Thanksgiving. I worked on Thursday, so we did Thanksgiving on Wednesday with my family, and that was fantastic. So thank you for supporting everybody here and Nubifire and everybody while I was gone. I appreciate it. And so I found out a few weeks before that they wanted to do something like that, and to be honest, I had no idea what I was going out there for. I knew I was going out there to be a part of the event, but not really sure what was going to happen. And when I got there, so they timed it really good. Me and DJ landed at the exact same times. I walk over to his gate, we hug it out, get in an Uber, and go straight to the office. Not even the hotel. We're at the office from I'd say 11 a.m. because that's when we landed about 10. 11 a.m. until midnight Pacific time. I woke up at 2 a.m. Pacific time, so I was dead. But we just tested and tested and tested, and it was a completely different experience than Gamescom was. And to be honest, I kind of enjoyed this one a little bit more because it was surreal. Like Gamescom was amazing because you're in a different country. I actually got to meet almost all the viewers that watch my stream because of the time that I stream at. But like Chris Roberts and Sean Tracy are standing behind you and saying, "Hey, can you do that again? That was awesome." Yeah. Or can you do that again? That looks really good. Or can you do that because we need to see something? And that was really cool.
Well, one of the big things that you said to me, Twerk, was that you felt more like you were part of the team.
Yes.
Than like
at Gamescom you were streaming for them. And yes, and fuck, man, Matt Sherman, we talked for hours, dude. Which was awesome. And yes, he goes, you got to get some of the grease on your hands with the anniversary stream. We got some grease on our hands. We worked really, really hard to get that thing up for everybody and to get it looking the way it did. But that was the best part about it is my feedback and my input actually mattered a lot. Mm-hmm. So it all of our feedback matters, but it was it was direct to the man. Like, what if we did this? And they were like,
okay. You can. There's some joy in seeing literally something that's come out of your mouth being used immediately. You can see your progress. You can see, bam! Look at the effect I've had on the world.
It's like being an Evo Cadi on steroids. So it was really, really cool. And just it was like I was a QA tester it's like I worked there for 2 days basically, and it was a really, really cool experience.
Let's be very clear with this. You didn't work there.
No, I did not work there.
Let's be very clear.
Yes.
Not paid by CIG.
No, not at all. Not at all. It was completely, for up to me to go and all that stuff. It was like that, and that's what made it really cool. Was that it was just a totally different experience. It was fantastic. And then the live stream was obviously really fun. But
oh my
honestly,
god, your trash talk was great work. Like not let's get a rolling V, not let's fucking
heads on a swivel. Keep it tactical, boys. Keep it tactical.
Yeah, so I kind of to be honest, the best parts of it you guys couldn't see because it was all the trash talk that we talked leading up to that day to each other. My favorite one, and I don't know if I told this on stream yet, is one of the builds that we were playing. It was the same thing that you guys saw, and Jeremiah Lee went 19-4 but didn't capture any points. So, so Jeremiah Lee, we lose the game. Jeremiah Lee stands up and goes, "Yeah, baby, 19-4, boys, 19-4," and is like bragging to all of us, and we're like, "Jeremiah, we lost because you didn't fucking play." What the hell, dude? So if you ever go back and rewatch the stream, the very start of Star Marine, Tyler goes, "Jeremiah, make sure you capture the points."
Yeah.
And that's why. That's why. It was really awesome.
Oh, that's cool.
So obviously, we can't talk about any Evocati or any whatever stuff, but you can talk quite in depth about what you played there.
Huh?
You can talk quite in depth about what you actually played there. Obviously, we can't talk about any Evocati stuff that may or may not be in, but you can talk about the gameplay there. So, Twerk.
Yeah.
Star Marine build that you played.
The Star Marine build that I played was I think not only what the gameplay is what led to the trash talk, right? So it was so fun. Like, I think, to be honest, I think AC is going to be a really fun game mode to play again, but all we wanted to do was play Star Marine and talk shit to each other. And those guys, they can talk some shit. The writers are awesome. It was Will and Adam, and they were so witty and picking on everybody. It was great. And Jeremiah Lee and John Riggs have this relationship with each other where all they do is make fun of each other, and it was
do you think
really funny
that you got a lot of fun because of the LAN setup, so that you were able to talk to each other there in the same room?
Yeah.
Do you think it would be so fun if you weren't on comms? So do you need to be on comms for that kind of fun gameplay?
Comms like ASAP, of course. Like, and I've been saying that for months and months and months now. If we got comms in Star Citizen, the level of fun goes up exponentially, right? And I know they're working on it, so it's going to come eventually. But it's something that I think it is the most important thing. Like, me and Kazu were playing today, and we were role playing, but we were just role playing to each other. And nobody else really knew what was going on in ArcCorp.
Yes, you were role playing with each other. I saw.
Dirty.
But we had a lot of fun with it, so I think that'll bring the level like crazy. But overall, I thought the gameplay was fantastic. I was actually surprised at how fun and how good it was for a first implementation.
Can you compare it to any other first-person shooters?
I'm not a first-person shooter player, so not really. But yeah, I mean, it was fun. It's obviously we were running around like crazy and stuff like that, and that isn't necessarily ideal. I know they want the game to be tactical, so we didn't play tactically, but also we could run endlessly, right? So we were trying to win the game. The whole point of the show was to have a competition. So when you're in a competition, you want to win, and that's what we were trying to do. We failed miserably, but we tried. And I can tell you, I won every race leading up to that day. Or we won every race, I should say. It was either me or Vincent Sinatra that
It's all right. It's all right. We know it was rigged. Don't you worry.
It wasn't.
Don't you worry. We know.
Yeah, you know. But yeah. Overall, it was a fantastic experience, and I would do it again in a heartbeat. I would get on a plane today, sick as a dog, and go do it again for 14 hours. I wouldn't care.
That's the only reason I've got a Twitch partnership, mate.
No.
These fuckers getting invited to America and getting up to these CIG offices and shit. It's like, I'll get a fucking passport. I'll fucking go to there. I'm pro
to be fair, for the only one that I've been, I was going to that event already.
Yeah.
So, let that be known as well. So, and you're further than I am. But, that being said, we have Terrellian has put together a trailer for his Combined Arms. I'm going to put some audio on this, and we're going to watch this together. So, we'll be starting this.
Any attractive rogue mavericks got invited to voice act for that.
Yes. Yeah, and then we'll talk about this a little bit right after we play this. Here we go.
Chaos in the streets this morning as riots break out in Area 22. breached a total planet-side lockdown.
They've already killed every last soul on that station. Dead or dying.
Jesus, the death toll would be... Damn. So what's the plan?
Well, Private, I'm glad you asked.
All hands, clear the flight deck. Launch process initiated.
Unless we want civilian ships dropping like flies, we need this job done right.
Zulu 9 taking heavy fire! Where the bloody hell is our air support?
This is the UEE Garuda. We are inbound for close air support. Let's give them hell.
Go, go, go! Move it up!
I'm out! Cover me! Contact center on the top floor! Help! Hodge! I want a line of fire between us and them!
Let's move!
I want to make one thing very clear. Marines are not. This is our fight.
It's taken us everything. So, we shall fight!
Hesitation is a luxury and one we cannot afford.
Very cool stuff.
I'm gonna throw the link in the
looking
chat
forward
right
to
now for it.
Yeah, so one of the things that I know was a big hurdle was getting the facial animations and everything done, and from what we saw there, it looks really, really cool.
Like, did he? Like, no offense to CIG, but that looked the mouth,
Yeah.
and everything looked better than I think the video for the ship commercials that we had recently.
So a lot of the stuff that he's using to Aurelian him is standard CryEngine stuff, which is relatively easy to manipulate at that level of fidelity, I believe. Not to, I mean, the stuff that Aurelian's been doing from when he started to now is fucking amazing and was really good even when he started. That boy is going to be absolutely amazing in a year's time.
Yeah,
like,
man.
Fantastic mission, man. And I'm really looking forward to this, which I believe is coming in some point in December.
Yep.
Yeah, he's wrapping everything up and finalizing everything. As for
sub to the YouTube channel, you need to get to it because
Yeah, he
I
hasn't
look
got
how many
many-
subs he has,
Yeah.
and I am very surprised at how little he has compared to what I would have expected for the work that he does. It's amazing.
Yeah, I think it's just the reason is it's probably because he's working on such a large project. Right, he's not putting out a new video every day or even once a week or whatever, and so it's harder to get exposure that way and to build that up. But if you guys want to go throw him some love, his links are there in chat.
There you go. Thank you, Kaz.
Now that being said, we can jump into ATV, and we saw some new items, and I was really excited about this because
this was cool.
Pirate weapons.
Yeah,
Olao weapons,
right?
Castec arms, yeah, and
not necessarily pirate, but probably pirate.
probably.
I like to refer to them as like badass. Like,
Yeah,
it's
So-
like the logo's badass. You
whereas
know,
like
just,
bearing is like the actual military spec goes
Yeah.
to UEE. This is more of like it just matches everything from the Outlaws and everything, and it's really cool. So I'm gonna play the video here. Twerk, if you want to go over everything, that would be fantastic.
Sure. So I think it starts with missiles.
Yes.
And the missiles actually I can explain a tiny little bit about because I didn't know much about my loadout. But the blue missile was the one that was on the Saber Comet. So with 2.6, we're going to get missile updates. So not like a few weeks ago we talked about the size updates, but they're also adding new missiles in as well. And they're making them look visually distinct from one another. So you know when you like, I'm assuming one of the reasons to do that is when you want to go buy them, that you know what you're buying, right?
I also think that it's quite important that you see them at a distance and know what they are. Like
when they're flying at you or when they're on somebody's ship potentially. That actually makes a lot of sense.
So when they're on someone's ship.
Yep. So I mean, we'd have to be relatively close in combat, but still.
But the intention of the 2.6 and the flight model format was to bring people closer together.
Exactly.
So I do think it is going to be more of a thing, especially with when we start to get torpedoes and stuff as well, where they are actually going to be big and you can see them flying.
Yeah, like especially those large, like you see even the large one here, right? So depending on the larger they get, and I imagine they're going to get to quite a size, like you said, Bored, with torpedoes, they will be like the size. I don't know, how big do they get? Do they get the size of like a P-52?
Like, what's an Idris torpedo look like? You know?
Right?
Probably
Yeah,
larger.
exactly.
I mean, so we saw the torpedo bays in the Polaris, and those torpedoes were fucking moohoos. If I'd say they're
well, okay. So here, look at the Retaliator. Look at the torpedoes that are in that. Those are about as long as the M50.
They're small torpedoes, really.
Yeah.
So
in comparison, right?
So yeah, keep that in mind. But yeah, I thought they looked really cool. Now, when we first saw them, when you were doing your stream of the anniversary stream, because that's when we first saw them with the new camera angles and everything, which was really cool. I thought that they had made the paint jobs match the paint, because the smallest one here that has the blue and the yellow,
that's the one that was on my ship.
Yeah, so that, but it was also on the Avenger. And
was it? Okay.
It was also on the Avenger, and so that's when they showed it, is they showed it fire off from the Avenger, and I was like, oh, it matches the Avenger. They're making the missiles, the missiles have skins that match the ships. That's really fucking cool. But it turned out obviously not to be the case. It just was blind luck. But
don't you feel like maybe that would be a thing though in the future?
It could be.
I think it could be. Like skinning your missiles as well if you want your ship to look.
Like I said, I was just about to say idiots would. No, I think people will paint their guns to look silly. I mean, you see that in the Second World War. You see American pilots painting their ship, their aircraft. They want. So see that on missiles. You'd see people write names and stuff on them as like screw you, Vandal,
or like the shark mouths and stuff like that.
Kind of buff, right? So
yeah,
I would imagine that would be a thing. And then I think moving on, I'm not sure what's next. If it was
the Castic Arms,
it's the Castic.
Yeah.
So do you want to talk a bit about this, since this is what you're the most excited
about? Well, I mean,
about?
the first thing we're looking at here, and I have it paused, is they have the different things, and they're showing stuff, and you can see that this pistol from Castic Arms is called the Raider. It's called that right here. And then beside that, you'll see a .50 cal. It's a 50 cal pistol, which is the equivalent to what, a Desert Eagle?
I think so.
Yeah? So this is going to be something that has, as a pistol, I imagine will be a slower fire rate, but will also have some serious stopping power.
Yeah.
So this is really cool. And just the design of it, right? Like, you have that, obviously I'm a little partial to the red and black and the outlaw themes.
I'm thinking that the main downside of that pistol is probably the amount of sound and recoil.
Yeah.
Like, the sound, everyone's going to know where you are.
Yeah, and know where you're shooting.
Yeah.
Exactly where you're shooting. But also, they also know that someone has just been killed.
Yeah. Right. Well, the other, and we don't know exactly, well, maybe you guys do, but can't talk about it. But we don't know how the map is going to work in Star Marine or anything yet. So I'm not sure if that's sound-based, if that's going to help show you on the map. Or anything like that, like if your system does that. But if that is the case, or even if it isn't and they add that later, this is something that I imagine, like you said, would sort of give away your position, a lot earlier on.
They've talked about they wanted that sonar in, didn't they, a while ago? They wanted FPS sonar.
Yeah.
As like a, I'm not sure if it was an active or as a passive scan, but I think that's.
I understood it was passive.
Passive, was it? So you might hear people if they're
like who you see on your radar is based on sound or something.
Okay, I mean that makes sense to me.
Yeah.
If you had the right module installed to your Moby class and helmet.
Yeah.
Right.
I like the idea of your team of people having different loadouts, which will do slightly different things, like seeing through the wall through IR, seeing sound, seeing lots of different stuff that you have to work together and
communicate. Sound.
Seeing sound. Oh my God, we're living in the future.
Sound.
We're living in the future.
That's really weird. Don't do that again.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yes, it was seeing your eyes as little tiny dots.
Our next weapon that we see here, I don't know what this is called, and if anybody knows, feel free to let me know. But this is the shotgun, and it's
I don't think they gave a name for it.
I don't see. The only reason I know the Raider name is because it's engraved on the side.
It's the Castic Arms ballistic shotgun. That's all.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's I feel it's called like the Reaver or the Reaper, maybe. I don't know. They're all piratey names. I do know that, and they've talked about it before. But this is a double barrel shotgun. So it
This
very
thing
much
looks like a badass.
It looks like all of their weapons are very much looking very ballistic. I don't know if there's any
The
sort
current
of
electric
energy.
shotgun is Castak, though, right?
I don't.
Is that also
know.
Castak? I think it might be.
Yeah, I'm 99% sure it's Castak.
Is it?
Yeah.
Now there is some wiring and
So
stuff
this is
on
like their
this.
ballistic line, I think.
Yeah, I don't know if that means that there's like what the difference for the ammunition is, or what types of ammunition it is. If it's a slug, or if it's a pellet based, or if it's something else. Like we have the electrified shotgun slugs that we do now. And I don't know if later on we're going to be able to switch those ammo types for some of these different weapons. Not entirely sure, but it's a very cool, very evil looking shotgun. And yeah, 2 barrels for twice the damage. And then last but not least, we have a 2-barrel sniper rifle. Now these barrels, instead of horizontal like the shotgun, these are vertical.
Isn't there a gun in DayZ like this?
Not with 2 barrels, no.
Are you sure? I feel like I watched the streamer use a 2-barrel, like
not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
Because in DayZ, I think they use all real life weapons.
Yeah.
This is definitely not a real life weapon. Now I did want to make.
Citizen is real life, man.
I did want to make life-size props of the weapons we have in now, but I have since decided to wait until these ones are in and make only the Castic Arms ones.
I didn't realise that was double-barreled. I thought that was a cooling chamber for a railgun.
No,
I thought that the center was the barrel, but it's not. It's 2 barrels, isn't it?
It's 2 barrels, and it looks. And I'm not sure if this is the case, but it looks like the barrel has recoil stuff on it. So
right? Doesn't it look like it goes
so
in?
It looks like the barrel recoils in, so you don't have as much recoil, so you have more accurate sniping. It's definitely a sniper rifle. It's definitely a long range sniper rifle. That has the foregrip, the back, the nice big scope on it.
I'm not sure if it's a good idea to have 2 barrels on top of each
Look,
other like
you
that.
can also see, here, there's a collapse mode. And the collapse mode makes it so the barrel it does move in. So I don't know if it actually moves when it shoots, but that would be a cool feature. If it doesn't, CIG, for those of you who are watching that are maybe working on this.
Yeah, there you go, WTF. There's a B95, it's called. Double barrel hunting rifle in DayZ.
It's just a double barrel rifle, like a hunting rifle. Yeah, like a shotgun.
But that's not like a sniper, right?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
You have to have like a rotating bullet chamber.
Dude, okay, so that goes to, I think Castic Arms should be the ones that make the underslung chain gun. Every FPS worth its weight in whatever has an underslung chain gun. It's like a staple of like awesome FPS games. I really want one. Every time we talk about weapons, FPS weapons, I always bring this up. CIG, please. All I want is a small. It has to be ballistic.
Can't be a laser chain gun. Doesn't make any sense.
I want.
Remember way back the microwave gun was like it was the same animation of holding like an under.
It was but it doesn't have the same sort of thing. And I get, okay, people are gonna say, oh, well, what about all the ammo? Because it burns through so much ammo, it doesn't make any sense. You know, okay, put it with the Titan armor. Put it with the heavy armor only.
Yeah.
Make it so you only have to use those ones. I don't care, but I really want it, and I would really love to see Castic Arms make something like that.
That'd be cool.
There's got to be weapons that we are likely to use inside our ships, but shooting out the back, like opening the doors of that Cutlass Black and having a chain gun there. Yeah, it uses loads of ammo, and it's effectively to be used against vehicles and other ships and stuff. But you have ammo in a ship, which you can just change in. It doesn't have to be always about the ground warfare of assaulting somewhere with a chain gun, because that might be silly. But I can imagine someone firing that chain gun in EVA and just getting propelled,
like slowly moving backwards. Yeah. now the next thing we have up here is the Gray Cat industrial. What is it called?
Welding tool.
The welding torch.
Multi-tool
Well,
or
a multi-tool. It's a multi-tool. It's not just welding.
and cutting.
Plasma cutting. And
Yes, I think that canister, you can switch it out for things, and it does.
it'll do
difference.
different things.
Yeah, I think originally they said that they made it to have just be like a welding tool, and now it's a lot more than that.
It's a cutting tool, so if you can cut through. I think the idea is that possibly it might be used for like cutting doors, like opening doors, as well as welding them shut and doing like patch repairs. I do like the idea of putting silly string in it. Look at the little canister.
Yeah, it does look like a silly string canister, but
it's going to have that active display on it as well. I mean, look how good this looks.
Yeah, it does look really
freaking amazing. for like literally how silly it is.
Like even like the braided cable.
Yeah, like come on, you know.
Personal
like,
multi-tool, great from Gray Cat Industrial, and then you can see its charging thing on the side. It looks very much like a power tool, right? Like it's a futuristic power tool from like I don't know, what are some of the big brands that's yellow and black? What is the one I'm thinking of? You can tell we only play video games.
Well, the one in real life.
Yeah.
The thingamajigs look
I have
like
a Roby. Mine's Roby.
Roby is red and black, right?
Yeah, or like green and black.
Or green and black.
So,
I hope yellow and black.
DeWalt
is yellow and black.
Yeah, I hope the Star Citizen is making enough money after release that they can employ the weapons and equipment teams for many years, and all they do is just make new items for the game. Just constantly pump out new lines of.
They're gonna.
Castak arm. Oh my god! But can you imagine? Like
same with armor and weapons,
you get another 6 weapons,
ship weapons and missiles and clothing.
Yeah,
like
I mean,
a lot of
that sort of stuff. That keeps games fresh as well as the other content, as the gameplay content. But having that silly stuff and having stuff like and new from Castak Arms, the new range of guns, like
while this is like a major tool that we're probably going to use a lot, it's like it's such a minor thing, but look at how much detail they put into it. It's just like every time I see stuff like this, I know I chose the right game to back, you know?
There is an issue with this level of detail, okay, that I've always had with Star Citizen and with every game, which is when you first play a game for the first couple of days, you're super immersed and you fucking love it. And it's like, you're Sphincter Titans and you're like, this game is it. This is it. This is beautiful. I could get lost in this. And then
Bored has a very close relationship with his computer.
And a week later, you don't notice the detail anymore and you're just focusing on the game.
I think, to be honest,
in the PU anymore.
I think that's
so good.
now. Like that affects us now. And then when I go into another game or I take a look, watch other streams or whatever, that's when I notice it.
Yeah, you realize how good your game looks.
Because it is something you get used to. It is something you get acclimatized to or whatever, you know. Remember, a good example of this is I remember when Gran Turismo first came out. And I didn't think games could get any more realistic than that. I thought it was amazing and whatever.
About the top-down one?
No. You're thinking Grand Theft Auto. I'm talking about Gran Turismo. It was one of the first 3D racing games that looked really, really good. You go back and look at it now, and it's a screen of pixels, and it's really hard to look at. But at the time, you're like, "Oh, this is really good," and you're comparing it to what you have then, and it's the same sort of thing with this, right? Where you get used to it and it looks really awesome, and then you go and you forget how detailed this actually is, and you can see its flaws and all of that because you play it so much and whatever, and then you go over to another game and you're like, oh, that's why. Right? You know,
the biggest experience of that with me was Call of Duty.
Yeah.
You know, like playing the multiplayer, I was like, oh, so this is what it's gonna look like. And I was like, oh, or not the multiplayer, the single player campaign. I was like, oh, this is how they're doing like the in-game cutscenes.
I mean, call me a monster. I wasn't too impressed graphically with the Call of Duty campaign.
So that's what I'm saying.
I still haven't played it, so I have no idea.
The cutscenes, the actual pre-rendered cutscenes looked great, but the in-game cutscenes were really low fidelity, and I was like, oh, okay.
The gameplay needs to be at that fidelity. That's what I want.
That's the big difference. Yeah. So yeah.
And then
we went into grenades, right?
That's right. Grenades are up next. And what was really cool, and I brought this up, the first thing we have up here is the MK4 frag grenade. And just the amount of detail on something as simple and I guess as innocuous as a grenade that's going to be in the game that you're not really going to see up close a lot. If you do, you probably don't want to be up close to it. No,
we saw Twerk throw
unless you're at the store buying them.
Those are the grenades that Twerk was throwing in the gameplay.
Right. Now, the MK4 grenade, the way grenades work, like a pineapple grenade, for example, you know how they have those bumps on the outside? Those bumps are actually just thicker metal than when it goes down in the valleys, and the valleys are the thinner metal. So when it explodes, how it works is it fragments out into those large chunks. Now, what they've done with the design here is you can see they have the engravings into these diamond shapes. So when it explodes, the fragments would be sharp little things like a real grenade, which is really, really cool. And is like just that level of detail into something like this and that amount of thought into something as simple as a generic frag grenade is really awesome, while still making it look like it's from the future and fit into the rest of the universe and stuff like that. I think was really, really cool. Now we see a bunch of different ones. Now I don't know what all the different grenades are. I mean, we can
furnish you with those.
we can try and guess here. So the first one here is this black one. It's CR7 is what the code is on it. I'm not quite sure what that is.
I know all the
That's
different types that were shown there. So you could use these to fit into the ones you're looking at. There's an EMP one.
Okay.
There's a radar distortion one. There's an incendiary. There's a cluster, and there's frag.
Okay, so I think this may be the cluster one. The ones with the lights on it are either the radar or the incendiary.
I think that one's the incendiary.
I'm also wondering, I'm also wondering if there's one that's a flashbang.
I don't think there is a flashbang yet. They need one.
Okay, this one that says radar net is definitely the radar one.
They need a concussion grenade. They need and they've talked about a concussion grenade.
Haven't they?
They did.
So maybe
I want a concussion grenade, and I want a flashbang.
Maybe that CR7's a concussion one.
I suppose with everyone wearing enclosed suits, flashbangs are less effective.
True. Yeah, true. You have helmets on, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Either way, they all look really cool.
Very well designed.
They're very well
designed. In Germany, I believe.
The EMP one, the one that says DS12, and with the white and blue, I think that's so beautiful.
It is very good looking.
I love that one so much.
Obviously, the one beside it is the radar net. EPS. I'm not sure what that one is. We also it doesn't make sense to have really gas grenades anyways because everybody's in their own self-contained spacesuit. But yeah, all in all, very, very cool stuff. Lots of detail on those weapons, on the multi-tool, and on the grenades. Really, really impressed with how all of that really looks. Yeah, just really looking forward to it. Moving on, they did whiteboxing various stations on satellites and structures and things like that, and we have a video for that as well. So this
I don't know.
was really cool.
This gets me really excited for the 3.0 stuff. It's a huge patch.
Yeah.
It's gonna bring it. It's gonna. I keep saying it's gonna really be the game for the first time.
I'm really excited to see
stuff like
these
this.
satellites.
It's like holy shit.
All the different satellites and everything, and how different they look. Like that's the one thing that I was not really worried or concerned about. But for the first while, I thought, we're just gonna get different versions of Korea because we have all the comm arrays, right? And all the comm arrays are exactly the same. And then okay, we're gonna get Korea. We're gonna get Olisar, and we're gonna get comm arrays, and that's gonna be it.
They can effectively just reposition all the buildings in Korea, retexture it, reskin it.
This is the thing: is they're not going to do that. They don't need to do that because they have this system in. They're showing the different cargo depots. They're showing the different refineries. They've showed us prior ATVs where they have this whole system, and you can see everything from the solar panels to the scaffolding to the landing pads to what's explorable inside of it, and everything else as well. And it adds so much. And I think that's going to add a lot to making it the universe feel very diverse, especially if you're doing a lot of stuff with the different satellites and everything as well. It's something I'm really, really excited to see in game.
Do you potentially think that comrays are going to be less the same? And these are going to end up replacing comrays?
I think what's going to happen is
will there be a comrade at each one of these? Probably is what I'm asking, I guess.
Okay, so some of these might have comrays built into them, right?
Yeah.
I think we're gonna
obviously
see...
the military ones probably would.
Right. So the way that we have it now, I think we'll still have the same amount of comrays that we do now.
Yeah.
But I think there's going to be a bigger variety of them. I think they showed prior the smaller ones, the medium ones, larger ones. So we might see a larger variety of that. And then on top of that, they'll add these other stations, like in asteroid belts. For example, we're looking at a refinery. We're looking at, I don't know what this little building is on the ground here that they showed, but we're looking at a cargo depot,
The
things
building
like
on the
that.
ground was to show the update from, remember that,
From the rooms,
video of the
planet
side
buildings,
were like showing
right?
the gray box landscape, like the homes?
Showing
that was like,
finalized.
okay, here we are now. And you're like, what?
It's really quick, but it does look really cool.
Yeah.
That
just
just
gets
showing
my
the details and
imagination
everything.
going about the game for sure.
But with the stations, I think we're gonna see a higher variety of space stations than the ones we have right now. Let me just.
I do think in some situations we will get those carbon copies of things, and that's for like the comrays that you were just talking about.
Yeah.
I do think for them it makes sense for them to be standardized, especially at least one system. They will just go copy and paste them. And then change maybe a couple of bits. Some of them may be damaged.
I don't think you're
going
to see it the same frequency that we see it now.
Like these can be, like these other stations can replace them.
I don't think they should.
Situations.
I don't think they should replace them for the comrays. For me, in law, like comrays are there because for mainstream data stuff. Yeah, and they shouldn't be replaced by people having private contractors. So they shouldn't have people that run cargo depots. Yeah, they can have a comray in there for communicating, but it wouldn't be one that they would use for the system as part of the system.
What if there's different comrays for different things, right? So say, okay, we're in a UE system, but maybe if we're in a system that's not really owned by anybody, it has some UE comrays, it has some outlaw comrays, maybe some alien ones.
A big mismatch of them, or you might go into a Banu system and they've got a totally different system of doing it. Maybe it's on flotillas.
Still saying I think I'm still going to stick with what I'm saying though as well with I think they'll also change the size of some of them. So some of them might be more important and be a larger comray that has more things to do.
Like the ICC probe,
and some of them might be smaller, like what we have now as redundant systems for backups or for whatever, for important information, for whatever.
Right,
so the thing is the tool that they have is really powerful and super customizable. And because they've built that tool that does that sort of mixing and matching of everything, for them to make all the comrays look different isn't a lot of work. Right? Because they have the systems in there. And that's what I'm saying. I know what you're saying, Bored, and I understand what you're saying. I'm just saying that they can still keep it within those design specs, but still make them feel a little bit different. I
look at it from an in-law thrift bot point of view, where people have bid to make these stations all modularly, so they want to build them the same as quickly as possible to get them in the systems and stuff like that. So it's just, obviously they do what best fits in for the law, but the fact that they can do the highly detailed as customers they want ones, I suppose that's the main thing. They can if they want to.
And the only point that I was making was like, so we have, X amount of comrays around Crusader now. I would assume that some of those potentially would be replaced by a refinery at some point. And that refinery might have a comray on it.
Right. That's or like there may be a repair. The new repair stations may have comrays on them. There may be a military-based satellite
now, right?
That's a recon that have a comray on it, or look, the refineries or whatever may have a comray that's only specific for that corporation or company, right? So
And
you
what'll-
might be able to take down a company just by taking out their comrades on their refinery or on their loading bays, or like a Kovalex shipping hubs. Like the shipping hubs may all be different because they're running by different companies.
Yeah, and like where I think it really gets exciting for me personally is they talked about how they're destructible, that you can enter them. So let's say a refinery station, you go onto it, you're a pirate Saurus, and you can still turn the comrade off. You could still disrupt that area also, you know? So it just, the gameplay, the amount of emergent and the amount of just gameplay period is going to rise to an insane level compared to what we have now. Just with this implementation, not even talking about landing on planets and mission givers and all this other crap that they're putting in, just this.
Right. Well, look at it this
brings
way.
the level up insane.
Right? Think about it this way, where you have different space stations, right? Everybody knows the layout of Korea now, right? Everybody's starting to learn the layouts of the Starfarers and stuff like that. Now, when you start introducing more and more space stations, right? When you start introducing more and more space stations with different interiors and different layouts and all of that other stuff, it is going to add a lot more. You're not going to know all the hiding spots of everything. And it, like you said, it is going to add a lot more gameplay for that. And then you have... obviously, with 3.0 coming in, you have planet side. Not only the planet side, but all of these new buildings that are coming in, and cities, and like. But the buildings that they're showing aren't the buildings that are in cities. These are standalone little buildings or little villas that they'll have in areas that'll have small little points of interest, whether there be a mission around them or not. It'll be a little thing where you can hunker down and have like in-game meetup with people, or you can have it with whatever. And it's something I'm really, really excited about as well.
Yeah, man. It's going to be awesome. That's probably one of the most, like, I know planetary landings are going to be sweet. I'm honestly more excited for this kind of stuff.
I think it's part of the planetary landings that is going to make it exciting.
Yeah.
Right? Now, having new satellites and everything, and exploring satellites is going to be really, really fun, too. I think, running around and...
Yeah, it's for me, it's all about them derelicts. For some reason, the idea of treasure hunting and finding a derelict is, you see a derelict and you're it just makes you excited just immediately.
Well, we know there's one coming in this next patch.
Ooh.
Right? I mean,
we know there's a new mission
it.
coming in the next patch.
Well, they've talked about the derelict Starfarer being in.
Oh.
Somewhere. The new texture mapping and procedural, I guess, rocks. I don't know what else to call it. They showed the mining pit and everything.
So that's a very rendering. That's a very specific ecosystem. It was the Hurston mining pit ecosystem. So very specific ecosystem, obviously, for Hurston. But the great thing they showed after that was the improved procedural object scattering stuff.
Yeah,
which gives textures and objects on the ground that are procedurally added to the rest of the textures to give it texture, feeling, kind of.
It looks really good.
It does look really
good. It does.
There is one thing that a couple people have mentioned, and I even noticed it too, where it looks, and I don't know if this is an issue with how their collision works on large planets. Or if it, I assume it's going to be something they'll be able to fix later on, but where the shadow doesn't meet the bottom of the feet, so it looks like they're hovering like 6 inches off the ground or 3 inches off the ground. And
I didn't even notice.
Yeah, it's something that's blatantly obvious to me when I look at it, and it's like, ugh. But
that was very much true of the player character there, because he's in death mode. Where he's
so I'm gonna try and freeze it here, and you can see what I'm talking about right here. You can see that it looks like he's floating above the ground, and it looks like it's like collision isn't the same as where the actual texture is, and so what's happening is the collision is a little bit above it, and so the shadow's showing underneath him with a sort of space on it.
So that's what I'm interested in. How when they finished it, how will vehicles and players' feet treat those objects? Will they clip through them? Will they tread on them? And then will they tread on them? How cushiony and springy are they? Will they just be a rigid foot if it just clips on a single stone? Like that sort of stuff actually gets quite important to me now. Like in the 3.0 Gamescom demo, you know, when the freelancer lands, it was kind of rigid there. Or are we buffering, are we?
Yeah.
Are we?
Really bad. Almost unwatchable.
Okay. Nothing I can do about it.
Yeah.
So.
I was just letting you guys know.
Yeah, I think
to see if there was
one of two things happened. Either my cooler probably shat itself and no longer works, or there's a bigger issue.
Yeah,
it's one of the two.
So for the most part, everyone can hear our voices, but yeah.
So, yeah,
We're doing what we can.
It's taking forever for me to open your Twitch stream page, and I have no other Chrome windows open. I only have Skype, OBS, and one Chrome window open, and that's it on this computer. So, and it's saying my encoding is overloaded.
Interesting.
So I'm pretty sure, yeah, I'm going to be having to replace some parts over the next couple days.
Ooh.
Maybe, is it possible to drop the quality of the stream from your end source?
I can't, no.
Okay.
Not while it's live.
Not while it's live, and it's not going to make any. It's not going to do anything, anyways.
Yeah, he couldn't even open the web page.
Yeah,
strumming works, mate.
Yeah.
So.
Sorry, guys.
Sorry about that.
Yeah.
It's not saying I'm dropping any frames. But let me see really quickly here if I can even get into my settings and. Yeah, it's saying use a faster one, and I'm already on.
Fastest.
Yeah, I'm already on super fast.
Yeah.
So, and I'm only doing.
Well, everyone's saying audio is perfect, so it's not for me.
Yeah, no, audio will always be good.
Okay, but that's fine.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, we have the rocks and everything. They look really, really good.
Yes.
I don't know what BoredGamer is doing.
So I was hoping it was buffering still, and people would just get single scenes of me doing weird stuff. They'd be like, "Is he trying to explain how wormholes work like Chris Roberts does?"
But no, it looks really good, and the cool thing is that's like Hurston, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of the planets that we are to explore. So it's pretty exciting, but yeah.
And they show the big mining pit and everything in there as well.
Yeah.
Which is really cool. So.
I mean,
okay, guys, I'm going to explain to people in chat right now. It doesn't matter if my PC resets or not. I'm pretty sure my cooler is dead. The computer might reset on its own again. It's already done that like 3 times this morning. I'm super frustrated with it. I'm very aware of what the problem is. Resetting my computer isn't going to help anything.
Yeah.
Maybe you just got to believe more.
Just believe in it. Just believe that I can put that computer through the wall.
Yeah. Also know that because of everything, they're super delayed, so they might continue to go. So just.
Yeah, I'm not. Our next thing as well. So the Star Marine stuff from ATV, the grenades was really cool. So based on how you're looking is how you're gonna throw. So if you're looking above if you look at the center as your horizon line is 0. Anything above that, you're gonna overhand throw it. Anything looking under it, you're gonna roll it underhand, which I thought was really cool.
And that's going to be the same for all throwable objects, although they might change exactly how that system works.
Yeah, and all in all, it looked really, really cool. I don't know if they're going to make it so you can throw whatever you have in your hand. Like, are you going to be able to just toss...
It's all throwable objects, so not everything will be throwable.
Are your weapons going to be throwable?
Oh,
you know what I mean?
I hope so. You run out of ammo and you just fucking throw it at him.
Right? Like instead of picking up another weapon, like look at the way that the weapon works now, right? If you pick up something, it automatically just drops something. It would be a lot better if you had the control over whether you want to drop that and how you want to drop it, right? If you want to put it back up on the wall, if you want to throw it, if you want to just lay it on the ground or just drop it or whatever. It would be interesting to see how that would work with
I can imagine throwing a rifle at someone while you pull out your pistol to finish them off.
They're like, ah!
Yeah,
You know,
why not?
So,
Why not?
and then I guess if anybody can talk about the level design, you can, because what we've seen has been a bunch of jump cuts and and stuff like that. So it's a lot hard to tell what that level design looks like. But Twerk, if you want to go into sort of how the level design felt and everything, being as you're the one with the first-hand experience.
I think it's awesome. So, obviously, I played Damien Station and not the one that they showed on ATV, which was Echo 11. But the level design is really cool. It's obviously like when you look at it initially, you see Korea, right? But it's nothing like Korea at all. They obviously took assets from Korea, but it's laid out so differently. And what I love about the layout is that the capture points, each one of them has a high point to defend. The obviously parts around the capture point, you can get to it from behind it, you can get to it from in front of it. There's stairs coming down and up. This is where it forces, like, the good players are going to play tactical. Because
we were talking about unrelated about FPS tactics in general.
Yeah.
And saying, are you able to put your back on a wall on that level you played? And you were saying specifically that level that you played there was really great because it was so open and there was no way you could hide. You could always get ambushed from any location, so you could be super aware and use your team. And I think that's awesome in level for level design.
Yeah. So if you were going to try and take points, it really made sense to do it as a team, right? Because if there was two guys there and they were, one was high, one was low, it makes it a lot easier to actually you move as a group to capture the points. Is in my mind is what makes sense, because of how difficult it is to capture one, because guys can come at you from anywhere, and I thought that was really good level design. Now, I obviously have some issues with it where it seems like one team has an advantage over the other a little bit, but other than that, it's not bad. I really enjoyed the map so much.
When you were playing that as well, how were you doing your calls? Were you just going A, B, C, D?
We didn't. So what a lot of people I don't think know is that we can all hear each other. Both teams can hear each other.
Yeah.
So we didn't call as much as we probably would if they couldn't. I would usually say, guys, I'm not capping A. I swear, I'm not there, not doing it. But yeah.
LAN tactics. Yeah. Having a quick look at someone else's screen.
Yeah, I mean, I often looked at, because I was in between Vincent Sinatra and Tyler Whitkin, and I was looking at their screens often to see where they were and catching up with them or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
A lot of it was like, okay, I'm taking this point, stay with me. That's a lot of the things that I would say to, like, Vincent. So Vincent knew where I was, and I'd be like, all right, Vincent, stay with me because I'm going to take it, defend me. And he'd be like, all right. So that was that was kind of the calls that we did because of that. Eventually, I think we'll be able to call areas like hallway and, things like that. But not yet.
Was there any way of, like, pinging locations? Like pressing Q on the floor or something?
No.
Okay.
Maybe one day.
Yeah,
but no.
So nothing like
like
none of those
boys,
grenades
like
were
your
in.
radar just like goes nuts or something.
Like
no.
your grenades, you only had the frag grenades in there.
Yeah.
When you were playing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and I think to bring in gadgets that'll bring the level of the tactical level up, right?
So I just downloaded something really quickly to see what my CPU temperatures are, and I'm sitting at 72 degrees.
That's fine.
That's not high. It's
Yeah,
higher, but it's not high.
I mean, my laptop gets to 92.
Yeah.
I know that's dangerous. But at
Yeah, so I'm not
72 is
sure if it may be my motherboard. There's a new BIOS that I installed earlier. So it may be from that as well.
Look, Jay Lee just said, but Twerk my KDR though. See, he's still doing it.
I know, dude.
Dude,
When I was talking to him about it, because I talked to him right after I think it was the next day or something. He's like, listen, I'm excited to play with you. I'm going to play with you every day in Star Marine once it's out, whatever. But just so you know, I give two shits about the points. I just want those kills. I'm like, yeah, I get it.
19-4, boys. He stands up and fucking has a trophy to him, and he's like,
not give a shit about my KDR. It's about winning.
Yep.
Like, I have to win, bro. Have to win.
Look, he remembers it was 19-4. It was like 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Oh, God, this guy.
He's gonna have it on his resume when he gets to a next job. It's like, and I was 1904 on Star Marine. You may have seen it.
You may have seen this, yeah. And then the next thing, and this was quite a bit, was Townhall. We had that on, when was that? Yesterday? Tuesday?
Yeah.
Townhall with Tony Zurvik. And Reddit said that they counted 370 or 366 or something. We had somebody sitting in my chat, and we counted 536 or 500 and something like that. In the whole interview, we were counting them. I was like, oh yeah, we should do a drink every time he says it. It immediately became very, very clear that you shouldn't do that. Now, everybody has their own mannerisms and their own little things for when they're thinking. I have my own. Twerk will have his. Bored will have his, and everything.
Hello.
I probably say or I stutter a little bit as mine. Tony Zurvik's just happens to be, and it's amazing. But yeah, so there's a few things that he talked about. The first thing was quest giving, and this is something that me and Twerk had talked about before. Like, how are they going to do the quest givings, especially with the primary quest givers, like for side quests or little throwaway quests or the procedural things. That's going to be a lot easier because you can just change the person who does that and the location of where that is. But for primary things, if there's any sort of main story arc or storyline, you don't want what they have in World of Warcraft or any other big MMO where you have 100 people sitting around this one guy. So one of the things that he talked about was putting them in a back room and having to go through their lackeys or henchmen, or if that's if they're like on the shadier side of things, or if it's like a corporation or like the military or whatever, going through their reception, right? So going there, sitting in reception, and then they say, okay, whatever. And what was really cool was he was talking about how the quest givers and important people remember you based on you or your organization's interaction with them.
Yeah, that was cool.
But also that if you want to be that guy that tries to just like stick around and continue talking to them or whatever, they'll like kick you out, or they'll get annoyed with you visibly and cut you off.
No bottlenecking is the idea. No bottlenecking. Single world where people can't troll the fuck out of NPCs.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if this still answers our question yet, but like between the instance and not instance things with those missions.
The other thing is they said that they're going to try a bunch of different things to see what works and what happened, like what is the most effective. So just because they do implement something like this, it may not work for everything. It may
not work at all, period. It sounds like it's very much in the thought process.
Well, the other thing too is it may be a mixture of things, right? So some quests may have to be instanced. Some quests will have this room system. So in that case, then we're both kind of right. So we'll just have to.
I'll be the judge of this.
Yeah, we'll let BoredGamer judge.
Figure that out.
We know that they haven't figured it out yet. So there's no yes or no with it. And I think that was a big example of it. And I don't know, I thought some of the ideas that he had were pretty interesting, but he kept saying one world. And I was like, so they obviously don't want instances.
The intention is that if they can do it, of course they want one world. It might not be possible, so they have to wait.
They want one world. They don't want the loading screens. They want it to be as encompassing and immersive as possible.
Yeah. Yeah. So Matt Sherman and Jeremiah Lee are fighting in the chat, by the way. About
Who's got the highest kill
Jeremiah
death
was.
ratio in chat? I see Taylor wins.
Oh my god. Oh, that's awesome. But yeah, he talked about a lot of stuff. I think that we got 5 questions total. Like 5 questions, but he went off. And the next thing they talked about was interdiction. And I thought that was pretty interesting, where what I found interesting was the questions that they have about it. As I wouldn't have ever thought about this stuff. Like, okay, you interdict somebody. Where do they end up when you get interdicted?
How likely I might kill them?
Yeah. So there has to be a balance between the guy who's interdicting and the guy who's getting interdicted, right?
But the idea that they talked about there was that the person that's using the interdiction device has the ability to put as much power in as they want.
Yeah.
And the more power you put in, the larger the area, so the more likely you are to pull a ship out.
But there's risks to it, right?
Well, there's risks, but also that larger area means that they might be so far out that they can spool up their drives and fuck off.
Yeah.
Or call in their service beacon to get their mates in before you can finish them off and steal all their loot. So there'll be obviously the distress beacons that players can put out once they've been interdicted, but also it might be a big flashy red light like on the entire system where someone's powered up an interdiction device too much.
Yeah. And everyone's like, oh shit.
Yeah.
You know?
The UE are going to want to smash those. There's going to be missions where people want to go and just round and break up interdiction devices. I suspect that's going to be a very common pirate mission, which will be, pirates have put an interdiction device here. Go and blow it up.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how they do that.
So I'm interested in how you feel about it. It kind of made more questions than answers for me.
Yeah, the thing is it was very clear from him that they're not sure how they're going to do it yet, and they're going to probably try a bunch of different routes of sort of seeing what's going to work.
Yeah.
The next thing he talked about was interdiction devices will be capable of producing an area of an effect that knocks ships out of quantum travel based off of a curve that's dictated by how much power the device is given. So basically there's going to be, think of it as a semicircle, right? As the distance from your ship. So in that semicircle is where you're going to be able to sort of pull a ship out of interdiction. Now, if they're too far away or they're too close, that may not have as much strength to pull them out and interdict them, but if they're more in the center or whatever, based on the power that you have to them, and that's sort of how they're going to do it, or how long that interdiction range is. And seemed really, really cool the way that he talked about it. So he said the more power you injected, the more likely you are to knock them out where you want them. But you're going to be more likely to be detected by other people. So if you're not worried about being detected, you can throw a bunch of power into it and pull someone out of quantum or pull someone out of trying to escape. But if you're trying to be stealthy about it and do some roguey sneak attacks, then you're going to want to be a little more subtle about it. And then, yeah, the next thing he talked about was something a little bit differently. But yeah, what did you guys think about what he talked about for how this interdiction mechanic's going to work? Like, did you even understand it when he was
I think
when he was talking about the wave, it was a bit weird.
Yeah.
But as I said before, it's going to be pretty simple from my point of view. You put as more power you put in, the wider that area gets that you pull ships out of. The less power you put in, the more focused it is. You want to put as least
and maybe
least
not
as
far away.
Yeah, well that's it. That's it. You want the ships to come out close to you as possible, because the closer they come out to you, the more likely you are to be able to finish them off before they can get their drives back up, or before they can put a signal out to say I'm being attacked.
Right. And I'm curious to know how that's going to work with, like, will that knock out their quantum drives? Will that knock out their jump drives or whatever for a certain period of time, like an EMP?
Balanced.
Like, or is it something that just pulls them out and they have to restart that initiation over again?
Like, yeah, he wants it to. That's where it makes more questions than answers for me. Is how are they going to balance this? It seems like a really tough task, because you have to be able to pull somebody out and bring them into a fight, even though they don't want to be in one, but you also have to give them the ability to get away.
Right.
Because they can't just get pulled in and like someone like me who's, maybe flying it doesn't matter, an Orion or something, slow, bulky, not a lot of protection, right? And Saurus pulls me out of with an interdiction device. I still need to be able to get away from that situation, right?
Right.
And
there needs to be some sort of countermeasure for the interdiction.
Exactly.
If you know it's coming or in its process. And I'm wondering, and a way to make that skill-based as well, I think.
Yeah, I mean, you would think that this is a really important type of gameplay, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's going to require some really...
Yeah, like I think it's going to require skill on both sides.
For
right?
sure.
It's going to be, obviously something like the UEE police will be extremely skilled at it.
Yeah.
Right? But, people who are used to running away from police or whatever will also become skilled at getting away and trying to do that. And they'll need to find a balance that makes that work.
I think there are some ways for interdiction that don't necessarily have to be a direct counter to it. So interdiction, obviously, you can detect it before people are interdicted. So that's one of the things. If they're spooling up a device, you should be able to detect them. And that's one of the things they want to happen. But you can also prevent being interdicted by flying in a large group.
Here's the thing, though, so for me, they always described interdiction as kind of like a net, right? Because we're flying in quantum travel. We're flying really fast.
Yeah,
so
it's wet.
Saurus is the guy who's interdicting, right? So he has to say, you know what? I know that this is a really busy area where lots of traffic goes through. So I want to throw a net over here. So how does that apply to what you just said, like that I know it's happening? How do I know it's there and how do I avoid it? You can't avoid it. You're in quantum travel.
No, you can't avoid it like that. So you might be able to detect it.
You might be able to have some sort of like there may be a timer on how it's pulling. Like you see, just like you have a missile incoming, you have this thing that's saying interdiction incoming, right? And then I don't see it as an instantaneous mechanic that somebody hits F for interdiction and it just instantly pulls you out. There has to be some sort of warning systems in place that your ships understands that it's about to be pulled. It's been locked on to be pulled out of quantum travel or whatever, and then that's where you would
knocking you out of quantum travel as you pass through somewhere. So it passes you through and goes like your quantum travel powers down. But I also see that the actual interdiction devices should be able to be spotted on long-range scanning. Stuff like that.
Right. So my question would be then, how would you know where, as the interdictor, how would you know where to set up? If you're saying you're thinking of it as a stationary thing, right? I'm thinking of it as I feel like it's something that you're going to have to do in motion. So you're trying to chase after somebody, they're taking off, and as you're chasing behind them, you interdict them to pull them out of their jump travel.
But you can't do that because you would have to be in quantum travel as well.
But not necessarily before they go, or if you are if you can see them somehow, or you know the direction that they've taken off in, and you're quantuming in behind them. That's right. So if you're going behind them and you have enough power to do the range in front of you, to pull out whatever's directly in front of you.
For example,
or
I'd set up like in between an asteroid belt and and a nearby supply station. So there might be miners coming through that area.
Right, but that's something you would do as a pirate. I'm thinking of, what about police? Because this is something that's primarily something that, yes, a lot of pirates are going to use it, but I'm assuming in the whole lore of everything is built for police in the military to get people from running away or to get fugitives from running away or whatever. So how are they going to know? They're not going to just set up somewhere and be like, "Oh, we'll just hope he comes through this wormhole."
Right, they'll probably chase them down with it.
And that's what I'm saying. So there has to be a way for those mechanics to sort of work. And in my mind, the best way that it would work for both instances, where you can both either be sitting there or you can be chasing after people, is by having that sort of like a lock-on. So same sort of lock-on if they're within that range, and then they also get a notification that there's an interdiction coming, and then there's some sort of mechanic on both sides to either pull them out or to escape that. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
there's something that goes both ways, and there's a skill mechanic based on that. So it's not just like pushing a button or whatever. Even though, for example, missiles are only pushing a button, there's still that skill mechanic. You still have to get them in front of you,
when to fire,
it, etc. Right. So
but
there needs to be
Matt
something.
responded. It doesn't super clear anything up, but it clears up like where they are with interdiction. It says there's going to be a number of variables, but like Tony said, it's going to take iteration on the ideas we have to find out what is going to work the best. So it's still a try and figure it out thing, which is cool, and that's why having this conversation is awesome. Is that we can maybe influence something a little bit, right? So he also said the counters don't negate how the initial action has 0 skill threshold to initiate.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then moving on, I don't want to spend the whole podcast on that.
Yeah.
They talked about quantum linking, which is, it sounded a lot like being able to fly in formation and quantum and stuff like that. And it's used for escorts.
Together.
Yeah, used for escorts or friends along with you. So to keep you relatively together if you get knocked out of quantum travel. So if someone gets pulled out of quantum travel, it's not just that person solo. It's the whole group gets knocked out of quantum travel. Or sorry, the one person gets knocked out, but the rest also come out to make sure everything's okay. But not all in the exact same place exactly, obviously, because they wouldn't be in the same place as they're getting pulled out.
Yeah.
And as Tony Zurovic explained, and this is, I thought was just made sense, was quantum distances are going to expand as the universe expands. Right now, we just have a planet with some moons and some space stations that is also extremely compressed as it is, right? You should be able to quantum from planet to planet, and planet is going to be very far away. Obviously, they'll also expand out how far away those moons are, because even now they're really close. And the different space stations and everything as well. Moving on to the next thing, he talked about medical, and I know there's a lot of people on my channel and your channel who are interested in the medical profession, and he went on to say that they're not going to be professions per se. It's not like a class or whatever. It's more of going to be like a skill, and it's going to be sort of bundled in with the rescue mechanic, right? So there's going to be a lot of things bundled in with the rescue mechanic, like finding people, the search and rescue stuff, and the medical stuff is going to be a part of that. They're not, like he said, he's not going to be strict roles per se, and it's going to be more skill based. Something that I thought was really, really interesting was he mentioned infections and talked about infections actually quite a bit. I didn't think we were going to get any infections or sickness in the game, and I'm wondering if this has changed. The passenger
stuff.
Right, so the passenger stuff for the NPCs, right? Do you think that's all it is, or do you think this is something that's changed?
Perhaps
them,
it spreads to all of us.
And how do you think that would affect us? Do you think it would affect us similar to how when we get drunk we have those different effects
perhaps
happen to our screen with the post processing and
yeah,
such?
like think about what you saw when I was at the office. Was as you bled, the screen would get like gray. Like it would start to fade a little bit, and they could do all sorts of different.
Right, and I know Arma and DayZ do those things where you get that tunnel vision. It starts to darken around. They even do it with G forces, right? Where if you are, positive or negative G, you red out or black out. So do you think that's something where things are going to sort of go gray and you can get tunnel vision for things that
hope not.
Like, I know that's what actually happens, though, when you start to feel really sick, right?
Yeah, but
I know that happens to me if you get
really feel really sick.
Or whatever.
I don't want to get a virus from someone sitting next to me and then 10 minutes later feel really sick and go, dub, 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 I'm ill.
Like, right, but it's not, I don't think that's something that could happen over time, and you would slowly start to see that. Like, I don't know. I
think it's a little much.
I know what you're saying.
He seemed to be on the infections for quite a bit, and for them to just make that as an NPC mechanic just wouldn't make sense with the amount of stuff that they want to do.
Yeah, I don't know. It was weird.
I can imagine having a debuff by getting bitten by a sandworm, And I suppose that
Like some
effectively
sort of
getting
poison
ill
or
would be some
something.
form of debuff as well. Like getting shot in the leg will give you some sort of debuff effectively.
Well, we know
because
it's going to make you
affect
limp.
your body properly.
Here, I'll interrupt you guys real quick. Matt Sherman said more contained stuff where a person can get sick is doable, but don't expect anything on the scale of the old WoW Wandering Plague incident. If you guys know what that-
And that's what I'm saying. I'm not
Exactly
expecting
what
anything.
server.
Like
I don't know what that is. I don't
They
know.
had to kill everyone because everyone got the plague. They had a murder of the NPCs.
In
more simple things
didn't we
like
do that
bleeding out.
In World not World of Warcraft, Warcraft 3 too.
Oh, actually,
Yeah, they had
that was a mission.
those kind of things.
in
But
Warcraft 3, that was when Arthur starts to go a bit evil. Yeah.
Yeah.
the things I'm thinking of are more in line with bleeding out, right? So
Yeah.
when you start to bleed out, it's the same thing as DayZ. Things start to go black and white, and you start to get tunnel vision
I like
and
that.
stuff like that.
I like
really like that. Or like maybe if you do have some sort of respiratory or heart disease or something like that, it could do some sort of red pulsing or something
So what I
along
don't
those
like
lines.
Is when games have a debuff. Like
Right, I don't
bleeding
want.
out.
I don't want like,
No,
it's
but-
-5 to your aiming.
But all they have,
But, like, you're
all they
actually
have is just a
shaking.
little tiny symbol in the bottom left showing that you're bleeding out, but no other visual.
Right.
Like
Right.
no other
yeah.
visual description that
Like
you're
there
bleeding
could
out, you
be
just
there
don't.
could be some
Like a
subtle
little blood
things.
drop, and you're like, what?
Yeah.
There could be
Well,
subtle
I'm
things
dead.
like you could have a little bit of the shakes. You could have a cough, and that's going to actually affect, just like Twerk does right here. So that does affect your aim when you're trying to shoot. That does affect your precision if you're trying to heal somebody else or bandage someone else up,
Stealthing around
or
this
stealthing
jab that
around.
got to the last room.
Yeah, and you start sneezing or
Oh,
whatever.
shit.
Right? Like those are things that I think would be reasonable for them to have. But once again, this is something they said they didn't want to do, but they've sort of talked about. So I don't know. It's a lot of this that we talk about, guys, just so you know, is speculation, obviously.
And
but
sometimes it
it's-
seems like Tony's speculating as well, right?
sometimes. But also remember that he is in design. He is in design of the game mechanics for Star Citizen.
Yeah. But sometimes,
So-
like in conversation, it feels like, and maybe we could do this. You know?
Yeah.
That's what I mean.
The other thing he talked about was large cities. And somebody asked, like, when these large cities come in, are you going to be able to fully explore them and whatever? And I think they were getting to the point of, am I going to be able to go inside all these buildings and explore inside of them and do all this other stuff? That's how I'm taking it. I think you'd still be able to walk around everywhere. They may have restricted zones.
No,
But
no, no.
why wouldn't you?
That's not what he said at all.
so
it was
what-
actually quite disappointing what he said.
Yeah, so he said gameplay-wise, we're not going to have the 20-kilometer sized explorable cities. We're going to have areas and points of interest and shops all accessible in a compressed space.
And he doesn't want to make
Right.
multiple Area 18s because, well, you have everything here. Why?
No,
why do you...
yeah, so that's not what I was saying. So what I was saying was that, yes, you have, how I imagined, you have this compressed area that is sort of your, let's call it the downtown core, and that's the stuff that you can explore. But you can still walk out of the city into the rest of the planet. You just won't be able to go in any of the buildings or have any of that other stuff. It's just going to be
on some of the
generic
planets, that's gonna be
closed-off
correct.
buildings and things like that. I don't understand how they're going to do
that at ArcCorp. You're not doing that at ArcCorp.
How are they
I can
going to
tell
do
you
that with
right
a
now.
city planet?
You're not going to be able to do it. That's what's going to happen, and I think he's letting us down like gently and telling us ArcCorp, you're not walking around the whole fucking planet. Sorry, and I think he's sharing where it's not a thing that can happen right now. That's the thing that I get from the conversations that I had with Brian Chambers as well, was like, how are you guys going to do ArcCorp? This seems like not possible to me. It doesn't seem like they could, like, I just felt that way, that it wasn't possible. And it kind of, certain areas you can go and explore and most areas you can't,
Mm-hmm.
and it makes sense because planets like that and giant cities, you can't fly wherever you want.
It
So
makes
you
sense
can't
for them to
walk
be
further.
constrained, at least in
Yeah.
the first few years of the game.
Exactly. And then what Tony said was, like, I don't want to have Area 18 and then have Area 17, where Area 17 has different items that Area 18 has. So what's the point of going anywhere else? Because it doesn't make sense to have well, you know, these items are sold at Area 18 and these items are sold at Area 17, all on the same planet when we're in the future and we're traveling across space.
I do think
so. Obviously, the items can be on the planet, you know, throughout the entire planet. If you could travel space, you know, inventory can get from one side of a planet to another easily. So
I do think Saurus was right in the like. I do think that's like some of the planets though that are city planets will have large areas on parts of the planet you can still go and explore. Like
yes,
but they're not cityscapes. They're not those giant.
No, but I still think that there's going to be, let's say, residential areas or whatever that you'll be able to walk by these buildings. But that's it.
Quite possibly.
You're not going to be able to go into these buildings, is all I'm saying. It would be the same as them making tree assets or rock assets. It's just the external of the building to make the rest of the city feel big, and it could be closed off. I don't understand why they wouldn't be able to do that. You're shaking your head, but it makes sense that they would do that.
No,
for the immersion.
They would have to procedurally do the whole fucking.
No, they wouldn't. That's not what Saurus is talking about. He's talking about making them feel big by having these residential areas leading on to other points of interest. Like you'd go there to go to an Astro Armada at the end of a residential street. So they'll use tricks and things to make the areas seem bigger and more explorable, even if they're not.
That's fine, but we're talking about ArcCorp.
I'm right? not. We're talking about cities.
He's talking
in
general cityscapes.
Okay, general cities for different planets.
Sure.
Yeah.
But it always comes down to we're getting Stanton first. What fucking
ArcCorp? I have no idea. For the
how the fuck are you going to do ArcCorp?
We have no idea. I have no idea that they want to do it.
And that's the references that he was giving.
They've talked previously before this that they were able to do they are going to be able to do a whole procedural planet of city tech. How they're going to do that and if they're going to make that wanderable around or not, I have no idea. I don't know. I don't know, but he never specifically ever said anything about Stanton or anything about or about ArcCorp as a specific planet. He was talking about cities in general.
His example was Area 18, dude. What the fuck? Of course he talked about it. So like I had a conversation on stream with this. I went berserk. I didn't go berserk, but I was like this. I'm very passionate about this in particular. Is I don't agree with him at all. That Area 8, he basically, to me, he said, I want you to be able to go from Area 18 to Levski to get different items and stuff like that. So I don't see the point of having anything else other than Area 18. Now, this might be completely different than what we're talking about, Source. It might be completely off base of what the conversation we're having is. But here's how I feel about ArcCorp in particular and how it needs to be more explorable than just Area 18 is... Say you're doing missions for ArcCorp. They are a company that makes engines, right? And that company, we could maybe bring material to them. We can maybe stop pirates that are bringing parts to the station, to the planet, whatever. And you gain reputation with the company ArcCorp. I might be dealing with somebody at Area 18, which is a low-level guy at the bar, right? At ArcCorp. Yeah, I work here. You know, you can help me out. But what happens when I gain reputation? Shouldn't I be talking to somebody higher up at the company, maybe the CEO eventually, if I gain a giant, big reputation? The CEO shouldn't be located at Area 18. He should be located somewhere else on the planet because the whole planet is.
Well, we know that some of the planets are going to have multiple landing locations.
Yes, but
which would mean multiple cities.
When the fuck are we getting those? Right.
And all I'm saying is I'm not talking about cities in the same way that you're talking about cities. I'm talking about it as literally a concrete jungle. So like I said, just the external, just being able to walk down, like instead of walking down the side of a mountain and into a forest, you're just walking down a street. You can't go into the trees, just like you wouldn't be able to go into these buildings or things like that. And that's sort of where I thought they were going with it. Now, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. If you're wrong, you're wrong. We won't really know until they start to put that in because it's something that we know they're working on. But another thing that he said was that cities are obviously going to vary a lot from each other, and we've seen that already. We've seen how Levski looks a lot different than ArcCorp, and we've seen the different concept works, right? So I forget what the planet is with I want to say Orion, but that's not right. with the dome buildings and stuff like that. So you're going to see a lot of different architecture and things like that. And the cities aren't going to have the exact same layouts, and some may be more vertical than others, right? With different levels, like going up and down into say like a mine pit, whereas some may be a little more sprawled out, or on the side of a mountain or in a cave or whatever. So that's pretty cool. And like we said earlier, there's only a certain amount of shops and point of interest, so it doesn't make sense to repeat those for more distance. And that's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying that they have these I'm going to refer to the points of interest in the shops as downtown core for ease of conversation. I don't think they're going to have multiple downtown cores. I think they could just do one downtown core, and those are the buildings
given city, right?
For a given city, right? That you can enter into. But let's say Terra, for example, right? We've seen what that looks like. That's been leaked already. Maybe that downtown core, and there may be a couple other smaller areas that are internally explorable. But the rest of it, I still think you should be able to walk through on the streets, and that's it, or on the sidewalk. I don't think you bring that in. It's already modeled. They have it there. So why wouldn't you be able to just walk out of the city into the country? And that's all I'm saying. I'm not saying that they need those downtown cores. And how they're going to do ArcCorp is so in the air. It's like, it's one of those planets. And I think it's the only planet we know of that's going to be like that. That it does raise a lot of questions and does have a lot of interesting points.
And it just, I could go forever about it.
Yeah.
And I know you were really, really, really quite angry about it, Twerk.
Well, so I'm talking about it with Jay Lee in the chat. Is there's a lot of miscommunication about what we're getting in 3.0 as far as procedural planets go.
Commander Riker has a really good way of me trying to explain it. I'm talking about a city biome. I'm not talking about the explorable stuff. So when you have that large city, you could have it 20 kilometers across, but it's just the biome of external buildings and streets and stuff. And there's no reason they wouldn't be able to put that in, and you can walk along that. It's just going in the shops and stuff are going to have to be limited to one or two areas within that overall biome of say maybe one is a clothing district, one is ship and weapons and repair district, or they could have that all together in one district, like they do with a bazaar or like they do with Area 18.
Yeah, I mean, it just, for me, I think there's a lot of miscommunication. Like, we're getting the fully explorable Stanton system. Every planet is landable and explorable. Is that true? Because with ArcCorp, with, Microtech and things like this, we don't know exactly how those are going to be. So I think we're getting close enough to where 3.0 is going to be and say, I think it might be time to tell us like what to expect, maybe with stuff like this.
I think
maybe they're not ready and they don't know yet.
They may not know yet. They may not know what they're capable of doing, and what the big thing is how that's going to affect the system, how that's going to affect their servers, how that's going to affect the client end of things for rendering stuff and all of that. And they need to take that into account. There's always the polygon cost of everything.
Yeah, like whatever they decide, I'm okay with it. But at the same time,
I should not.
ArcCorp needs to have more than one fucking area to land in.
Yeah,
my biggest argument was
if
our planets rotate and our planets go around the sun. So when I quantum travel to a planet, it might be in a different location each time. It might have been turned, and I should not have to go around the planet and land only on Area 18, and that's the only place that a civilian can go on an entire planet.
Right. Well, they have talked about multiple
different levels of
zones.
civilians.
Yeah.
But it really sounded to me like Tony said, I only want Area 18. That's how I read into what he said, and I don't like that at all. So...
and moving forward onto line range scanning. So a lot of people are really upset that they had said that, scanning is just a golf swing mechanic, whatever. That has been confirmed that the golf swing mechanic is something that they want to add for ships that scanning isn't their main priority or stations aren't their main priority. So this is something that's going to be only or primarily on single-seater combat ships and things like that, single-seater ships in general, right? Whereas the actual
seemed
scanning...
very happy about how early that got released.
Right. So the scanning mechanics are going to be a lot more in depth for that, especially for ships like the Cutlass Red that has a scanning thing on it, or like larger ships like the Carrack or the Aquila or the 890 Jump or the Idris or the Javelin, etc.
Hey, can I interrupt you real quick?
Yeah.
We are going to be taking questions shortly, so exclamation point question in chat if you guys haven't asked that. Also, exclamation point monthly in chat. There is 1 hour left to get in our monthly giveaway. It will end in 1 hour.
Yeah, of course.
Yes. So exclamation point monthly, we're giving away a Mustang Alpha starter package, and we'll draw that. It'll end in 1 hour.
Squadron 42 as well.
Yeah, it has Squadron 42 as well. And if the stream ends before we draw the raffle, I will put it up on the Redacted Twitter. And in the Discord probably as well. Okay? All right, go ahead, Saurus.
So long-range scanning will also involve passive scanning. So I think that's something that's always going to be running on in the background of those scanners, right? So you have maybe we know that there's going to be a kiosk, I guess. What is the word I'm looking for? A screen that will be hooked up to your scanner for large ships. What is it called? The stations. What are the individual stations called? What's the word for that? I'm gonna call it kiosk. Fuck it. So
like you're in a ship?
Yeah. So when someone who's in charge of scanning, yeah, they have their kiosk and whatever. But that'll always be having things that you can run in the background, and that'll be your passive scanning. That's how I understand it. As of right now, like I said, the Gulf Swing is only single seaters, not larger ship. He went on to say they're gonna have a more dynamic system. What that means exactly, we don't really know yet.
Well, they talked about the 3 main modes of active scan.
So visible, infrared, and X-ray.
Yes.
Or the 3 different spectrums of things. Now, how strong those are with their passive things, or maybe one thing works on passive a lot more than another one. We don't really know that yet. We do know they want to go skill-based, and the player is going to have to fine-tune based on what they're looking for. Like I said,
it's a highly skilled mechanic.
Right, it's going to be highly skilled mechanic.
Scanning.
And on the opposite side of that, if you want to stay hidden or you want to do that, you're going to have the means to actively do that as well, and that will also be a skill thing as well to do that. So that, I imagine, will be more of power management and things like that of your ship. And
it's going to be relatively easy for players to hide on planets. That's what the kind of bounty hunter role's there for, because they have to actively try and search for those players. It's going to be really hard to hunt players down that don't want to be found.
Yes. Moving.
Sorry, guys. The monthly is a fucking link. Click the link.
Oh no! Is it a raffle? But I can just enter by putting in a monthly. I'm gonna do that now, mate. Monthly, boom. Just everyone put it in.
You can't put it in anymore because I stopped it.
Oh
man. Okay, so the next thing we're going to talk about really quickly is they showed the concept for the Tavaran, and I have an image here.
Oh, so I like those birdie faces.
Yes.
Yeah. You kind of could suspect that they were birdie based on the ship, right? A little bit.
The fact that they basically said they were avian, and that Chris keeps on calling them Tavari like avian. I think that's what they were originally going to be called. I think that Tavaran comes
Tavarian?
from
okay.
Yeah.
And I like the way they look, and I'm not sure if they should have feathers, but people have shouted me down when I said I didn't like the fact they had feathers. I think they look cool, but
it makes sense on what I was speculating about what the Tavaran were, based on their lore, and based on how they're sort of a mix in between like Bushido, ninja, Japanese style, and Egyptian.
And a little bit of Native American Indian as well. Little tiny bit. That's what I'm getting from them.
Yeah, I'm just going by what I know they've said. And so that was cool. I still would really, number one, the armors that we saw, and I'm not sure. Do we have a picture of the armors in the doc?
They're super ornate. Let me grab a picture.
No, I don't think we have it.
I was expecting them. No, I like the way that they look, but I was expecting the colors to be reversed. I was expecting them to be primary gold with the highlights of blue and red, just like you see in Egyptian stuff, right? It's primarily gold with painted blue and red as highlights instead of the gold as highlights. And I thought that would have been cool. I also, and I don't know if they're doing this, and I know Jeremiah Lee is a concept artist. Not sure if he works on these alien species or not. I really want to see an Anubis-style helmet for them, whether it be their leader or like we've said this before, their hierarchy could be based on the different sort of things like that, and that's how it would just work more into that sort of Egyptian lore and everything, and I think that's would be really cool.
Yeah. I don't want them to be too Egyptian. Now, I know that we're supposed to be seeing this as like the UEE is the Roman Empire and the Tavaran are the subjugated Egyptians, and I suppose it does draw from that so much already, it doesn't matter. We're allowed to draw parallels. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't want it to mirror Earth kind of history too much, because you want it to be alien. You want it to feel alien as an alien law, an alien race. You don't want it to be like, and these are obviously Anubis type.
Well, yeah. While you're bringing it up, I thought it made sense to mention it because we watched a delay happen, right? We watched the schedule fall back, and they don't have to say anything. We just see it. Friday comes out. We're like, all right, so it didn't go to Evocati. Now we have to,
update it.
Wait a little longer,
and hopefully this is going to get updated every Friday. And it gives us such an in-depth look, though, doesn't it?
Yeah, it really does. And like you can really read into it. Like I haven't read into it as much as Source has. Like there's some items on there that you don't necessarily know what the title of them means.
Yeah, like especially when you get into like the network stuff, which is under the mega map, right? You're looking at the different entities and network and things like that. But it's cool to see it for those people who do understand that.
Yeah.
Which is really cool. So the serialized variable. Like I still don't know what. Apparently that was a stretch goal. I don't know what.
Okay.
I don't know what that is. Buying color.
Yeah.
Like I don't know what these things
but
mean.
But at the very least, we can see if it's being a blocker.
Right. Exactly. So we can see
yeah.
What's going on with it, what the status is with it, and if they're hitting those things as well as things like we know, like simple things like individual ships, like the Drake Herald or the Caterpillar or the 85X or whatever. Which is really cool to see.
It's good to see that what they've just finished as well. So you can see that they've on the 23rd they'd finished the Grim Hex bar,
right?
Yep,
and stuff like that. I like the fact it shows when stuff's been completed, and that's just really useful. To go.
It's just like check marks. You know what to expect. It's cool. So I like it. But the reason that I mentioned it is there was a Reddit post. So we can kind of talk about this. I know Bored and I are both in Evocati, but the original delay was that, hey, it didn't go to Evocati on Friday, but it's there now. So the CIG actually posted on Reddit to say that 2.6 is an Evocati. Obviously, we can't answer any questions on what we're playing or anything like that, and how it is and what it's like and all that
I've been
stuff.
communicating how good it is or bad it is with my eyebrows.
It's blinking.
Eyebrows.
Yeah. And the other thing we do know that you have is Spectrum. Now it's the web-only based Spectrum. I know a lot of people were complaining saying it should have come out as mobile or whatever. Remember
they
that
told
this
us
is
the order,
this is
how everything was going to be.
This is how it's going to roll out. There will be a mobile app still. It's just it makes the most sense for them to build it on the web side of things because you can open your web browser on your cell phone and do it from there as well. And build the web side, build it in the game, build it in the app. As those things, and then have your separate desktop client, much like Discord is or whatever as well. So all in all, pretty cool. They do have it, which is really exciting news. Obviously, the Evocati's having 2.6 does mean that they are testing things, and and it's well on its way to getting to the PTU, and then finally off into public. And obviously, when it gets to the PTU, that's when we're going to be able to make videos on it and stream it and do all of that other stuff. I don't know
stream
why
it!
Why
I can't wait.
Okay, so Twerk, that was hilarious because you were on the focus, and then you were
I know I'm on the focus. That's why I'm staring at the screen.
You were staring at the screen. It was amusing. You haven't been for a while now.
Damn it.
Yeah, sorry. We can jump into questions now, or is there anything else you guys wanted to talk about?
Man, let's do it.
Okay, so just a reminder, we do have that monthly giveaway. I'm sure somebody will be nice and post a link in the chat for you to go to for that. And number 2 is we do have a mod mic giveaway that is happening with a keyword !mod mic.
Yes.
Okay.
I just want to very briefly say, do we know the date of the holiday live stream yet?
I don't believe so. I haven't heard a date.
Usually it's late December. December 18th to 20th or something like that.
Yeah, the week before Thanksgiving or the week before Christmas.
Yeah, is usually what it is.
So
what
mid-December onwards. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, what the exact date is, I don't really remember. It's one of those days.
I don't think they've said it yet.
Yeah, I don't think they've said it.
I think
officially.
was last year. I want to say last year was on the 19th.
It was on the 15th last year, but I might be wrong. Let's have a look to see what is a viable date. The 15th or the 22nd. No, the 16th or the 20th or 23rd. That's the likely
it'll
dates.
likely be a Friday, right?
Yeah. So probably. Yeah.
Okay, so there you go. Let's get into these questions. The first one's from Zoldis, going to all of us. Hey guys, longtime backer of Star Citizen and longtime fan of you guys.
Thank you.
Good choice.
He has a couple different questions, so we're going to go with the first one here. The first and his most important. Twerk. On the podcast after CitizenCon, you mentioned that you were disappointed in CIG for not showing any Squadron 42 content or Star Marine. One could hear that you felt you'd been, almost like burned by the company. After they released the Road to CitizenCon,
it was that bad.
Did you still feel this way, or did you feel that it was too little and more of a PR stunt?
No, the road to CitizenCon was perfect. I honestly, what they should have shown, they should have showed the road to CitizenCon at CitizenCon. Kind of.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I think it would have
shown it at the beginning.
Better. Yeah.
Or maybe at the end of it, even.
Yeah. Like, hey guys, we really wanted to show you Squadron 42, and obviously that wasn't edited and delayed. It was leading right up to it. So, but yeah, I mean, I think most of the backers were somewhat disappointed in what the expectations that we had for CitizenCon versus what we got, right?
I mean,
things happened, but that video was that made me feel good. That's
exactly the problem, wasn't it, with CitizenCon? That Gamescom and more recently the live stream gave a lot more than we expected.
Because there were no expectation. They didn't keep expectations for those. Yeah. They said you might see this, but that's it. Instead, where Chris went on what Gamers Nexus and was like, you're going to see this, and this, and then we got this.
Me and Twerk are both a bit jelly the fact that Steve Burke got those interviews with Chris. As you can see.
No, I'm not talking about Steve Burke. I'm talking about Chris. Like I'm actually more upset with the way Chris handled that personally. It was like, if you're not 100%
expectations, he does that. Chris does that.
But I think sometimes Chris does that, and you know what? It might upset. Like, this is my just guessing that Chris does that to put a little bit of pressure on his guys to get like, hey, we're gonna hit these goals. We're gonna do this. It's crunch time. Let's go. Mm-hmm. I told everybody we're gonna do it, so let's do it. Sometimes I think they like everybody needs a little push.
You need a little bit of pressure.
Yeah, everybody needs a little push sometimes. So
some people work better under pressure as well. Not everybody. Some people don't, but I'm a person who I work really well under pressure.
I wait till the last minute for everything, so yeah, I guess I am too.
His second question is, being content creators, how do you guys feel about leaks, like the Jared leak during last summer, for example?
The Jared leak was a savior last summer.
Yeah.
I reckon that if they do the stuff with a schedule report like they are at the moment, then we won't need to rely on leaks to save us when we're feeling like there's a content drought.
Yeah, like with the Evocati stuff, I really wish they would, and I think they kind of did, where they posted the fact that 2.6 and Spectrum are in Evocati, and it's on the Reddit. I feel like they should, right before it goes live, they should be posting on the Reddit to say what's going there, and it just removes all the. It's gonna get fucking leaked anyway.
It's my opinion that the Evocati testers should be able to talk about the patch, but just not show any footage and not show any pictures and stuff like that.
Yeah,
that's
I
what
agree.
I would like to.
That's if I could, if that was the case, I would be an Evocati today.
Yeah. It was the hardest decision to do it because I really wanted to be a part
it's
of the
funny because
process.
his follow up was, what are your take on the new rules regarding leaks and Evocati spoilers on the Reddit forums? But you guys sort of answered that already.
I like what they do on the Reddit forums, which they
That they
literally say
delete them now,
no
right?
leaks, but we're allowed to talk about when it starts.
Yeah.
Nice. Boom.
And
There is a start,
CIG
there's leaks Reddit, I think.
is the one that is mentioning that it's starting. So there's no.
It kinda
It's
keeps
coming
the
straight
bullshit
from the
out
horse's
now,
mouth, which is
you
kind
know?
of nice. Yeah, it keeps out a lot of the speculation.
Yeah,
but I do
that's
agree
right.
with
I
you.
don't like the speculative bullshit. There's an NDA, so people thinking they know what's in it. You're it's bad words.
And
came out of my mouth.
I really do think that there should be the NDA on the actual content, but you should be allowed to talk about it, and they shouldn't have their
that'd be
sort
my
of thumb over
best
you,
scenario.
like saying if you accidentally say something like, "Oh, the now this isn't the I'm not an Evocati, but the javelins in 2.6," right? Like that shouldn't be. They shouldn't have that strictness on talking about that kind of stuff. I understand showing it and whatever, but being able to talk about it with the community and everything, I think, is important. And especially with things like, you have it when they're doing the different the reports and stuff like that, and things are getting out through that way and everything else as well. So I mean, it would just be nice if they loosened up on the talking part of it. It would be a lot nicer if we could talk about what's in 2.6 Evocati on the podcast, and it would be.
That said, CIG are getting so much better at being more open with stuff
in general. That it does feel like this is sort of would be the next step.
Maybe we are heading towards that. That'd be great if we are, but not the end of the world if we're not.
My thing to CIG and any CIG employees, I'm happy to join Evocati if I don't have to worry about what I'm saying. If it's not going to put any sort of gag on me for what I want to talk about, then I'm okay to do that. Right now, that's why I don't do it. And yeah, that was it for questions for Zoldis. Our next question is from Dubs261. He says, do you know if there will be faster than light communications in the verse? Either way, how do you think this will affect gameplay in terms of money transfers, etc., needing to carry over hard currency if there's no FTL banking system?
No, right? Everything travels at the speed of light. Like as far as communication goes.
No,
CIG got asked a while ago.
Speed of light is too slow, is what they've said. And the reason that they're going to do it, they're doing it for gameplay reasons, is because otherwise people will just use external systems. They'll use Discord, they'll use whatever. So there are going to be things that your communications, for example, won't fall under the speed of light thing. However, when you're talking about things like asset transfers, information transfers that you need, like not saying, oh, these are the coordinates, because you could just tell someone over comms, but things for your ships to see the jump points, or for transferring currency, for example, those will take time. Like any physical asset, like transporting or whatever, it has to go through those comm arrays in whatever way is the most effective. And they have talked about that prior. Our next question is from Narcto, and he says, there will be planets where players will only be able to land in certain landing zones like ArcCorp. How close to the surface do you think we'll be able to fly to these?
So with large city planets, they've already told us that you'll be guided in by a corridor. They will say you have to land here. If you try and veer away from these vastly populated planets, when you're trying to land down, they will pull you back into the corridor.
They'll take over
and
your ship
eventually
and
auto kind of land you.
Yeah. They'll take the controls of your ship. Now, that being said, over normal planets, I mean, you could fly as low as you want, I guess. Just be careful of the trees. I don't know. Like,
yeah.
You know, be careful of cliffs and the trees.
Environmental hazards, trees. So I think some
Buildings.
ships are going to be better at flying lower, like the Prowler, for example. That'll be able to fly pretty
Or
low.
like an M50, right? Anything that has,
Or
sort of
like
has those aerodynamic advantages, right? They've sort of
I'm
talked
thinking
about
of
those.
ships with more grav plates that will be able to hug the ground more.
Right.
Or at least more.
Right. I mean, the Dragonfly is specifically built for that.
Yeah.
Chris asked Twerk17.
What's up, Chris?
To elaborate on last week's question, now that you've gotten to play FPS a little at the CIG anniversary live stream, how does it differ to the FPS we have now at Korea in 2.5? Can you give us some of the pros and the cons and any concrete examples?
Well, I think the best pro, obviously, is that there's leaderboards. There's
the respawn is right there, right?
Respawn is right there. There's not leaderboards, but the score. You know,
There's guaranteed gameplay.
Yeah, it's guaranteed gameplay, and there's a point in being there and playing, right? So, like with the capture points, is what I'm trying to say. Is there's a goal, right? Whereas the goal is just basically running around killing everybody as much as possible, but there's no like, I killed you 4 times, you kill me 1 time, bitch. Like, you know, it's actually there. Like, press F1, it's there, dude. You got wrecked.
Jeremiah Lee,
you know?
I bet you anything he gets his coffee. He's got 19.4.
He's got 19.4.
Yeah. So it's definitely, that's the big difference is that it is a thing, you know? Is that it's just it's a separate thing. That's the best part about it. I don't have much more. Like, I'm not the biggest FPS player and all that stuff. So just the fact that it's a separate module is the best factor for me. Is if that's what you're into and that's what you want to do, you click a few buttons and you're there. Yeah. You don't have to fly there, you know?
Yeah, it takes a lot of the time out. Yeah, I think it'll also have, for the people that want to do that, there'll just be more players do it. Obviously, when 2.6 launches, that's what a lot of people are going to be doing anyways, whether they're really interested in that or not. I think a lot of people are going to check it out. But I'm talking in the long term of things. It's going to be a lot easier to find action right away if that's what you want to do. If you just want to jump into Star Citizen and play for 20 minutes, half an hour, and you just want to do FPS, then you're going to be able to do that with other like-minded people right away. Which I think
it also looked like the
really
animation, better animations. There was vaulting. There was
well, I mean,
cover.
all of that stuff will also go into the persistent universe at the same time, right?
Oh yeah,
yeah.
And so I mean, I'm talking like what those straight up advantages of going into that as a Star Marine is. You're going in, you get to do that. You don't have to worry about your life and deaths. Right, when the game does come out, you're not having to worry about losing stuff or whatever. It's the game within a game mechanic. So this is where you can be jumping in, killing people over and over again, and not really have to worry about that too much. And number 2 is just being able to respawn over and over again. Right there is really, really important. And the different game modes, being able to play the game differently than if you were to in the persistent universe. Right, being able to go in and play those sort of esports style FPS matches. Our next question is from Maro, and he says, do you think they could replace the Cutlass variants with modules for the black? It would go with the modularity of Drake. Love you guys, and thanks for doing this awesome podcast.
What? I'm not sure what he means.
So he's saying, so instead of the different variants like we have now, and we don't really know how they're going to be doing the variants going forward, so they may be similar to what they're doing now, or it may be just the hull is modular like he's talking about. So Drake is known for its modularity, right? Especially with things like the Caterpillar. And they've said the Cutlass as well. And so I think he's talking about it. Would it make sense if they just replaced sort of the belly of that ship and made that a module, similar to how they do with the Aegis Avenger, right? As opposed to having the separate variants like they have the Cutlass as right now.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I think what they'll do is what they did with the Aquila, right? That kind of showed us the process that they did. Because the Aquila is very similar. I'm thinking of Cutlass Blue, especially, is that the cockpit's different, right? And
well, the
it's very
Cutlass
similar
Red,
to
not
the
only the cockpit is different, but it also has the external roll cage. I don't know if that's coming over as well. I really like the roll cage, and it would
maybe,
be cool
maybe not.
if you could put that on all of them. You know, if
Yeah.
that was if they just made the base and then made it so the bays were swappable.
I just think they're going to do it very similarly. They're going to break the ship up into parts and change individual parts. So the cockpits will change for the variants, but again, it's likely that the whole, they're going to change pretty vastly anyway, right?
Right. Yeah,
It's definitely an up in the air thing.
Yeah, last I talked to Matt Sherman, I don't have chat open because of sanity of my computer.
Yeah.
But last I talked to Matt, they were unsure on where the variants were going. They want to make sure that the Cutlass Black is all done and finalized first, and then they're going to take a look at the variants. Yep. If I'm wrong, Matt Sherman, please correct me in chat. Our next question is from Orange Swampy, and this is directed at Twerk17 again.
Damn, all the questions at me today.
Well, you got to play that FPS, and we know that you can talk about it. So he says, how long did it take you to get familiar with the map?
I'm still not familiar with the map.
Yeah. I think Twerk's not familiar with the Starfarer still.
Yeah. Like, I'm pretty familiar with it now, but that day, it was difficult. It was... You gotta think of the situation that I'm in, right? I'm there to play the game, but I'm also in a completely unique and different situation, and everywhere I look is something super cool. And I'm at the CIG office, and there's Chris, and there's Tony, or there's not Tony. Tony wasn't there. There's Sean Tracy, and there's Jeremiah Lee, and oh my God, I've been talking to Matt Sherman for like 3 hours about all sorts of different cool stuff, So no offense to anybody, but like my focus was, I wasn't focused on the fucking game, I'm taking in the experience as I would hope all of you would if you were in
I'll tell you what
that situation.
was a good experience was looking at last week's ATV and seeing Tyler wearing your Trixie Christmas shirt.
But he covered it. He had to cover it because he was too embarrassed. Yeah, that was awesome. But yeah, I mean, it wasn't like a starstruck situation, but if anyone out there, and I know Saurus has, and Bored hopefully will at some point in the future, if you get to experience something like this, you have to take in every moment because you don't know when the next one's going to happen, if it will ever happen again.
It
right?
just won't be able to pay me enough to work. No.
Don't even joke about that. You really have to take it in and enjoy it and embrace it. So my focus wasn't necessarily on playing the game and being good at the game.
And that's literally why I haven't gone to any of these events, is because this year I wouldn't have enjoyed them. I was very much in the erratic place and worried about anxiety of like traveling. And
but now that you're a Twitch partner, I mean,
I'm feeling a lot better. I'm doing a lot better. I've got the correct medication. I'm being a bit more healthy again. My mind's in a much better place, and you suffer terrible anxiety from flying, don't you? I mean, but you do it because you need to do it for your fans, and
I hate flying. Like the trip there, I can't describe to you that my heart was pounding out of my chest for 5 hours straight. It was fucking awful. And then the flight home, I was like, "That's it. I'm drinking," and I ordered a bunch of drinks and fucking passed out. So but like everyone, like, you're gonna go to Frankfurt, like. I don't think I can handle the flight to Frankfurt.
That kind of anxiety, I just won't do. I won't put myself through that. I'll just go going. Full stop. Won't even question it. Because you can't do that to yourself. So.
Yeah, it was rough. It was rough.
Our next question is from Jamie Trombone. He says, with the Caterpillar being brought forward from 3.0 and the 85X coming in from 3.1, both into 2.6, maybe because of the efficiency of the new ship pipeline, do you expect to see many more ships being implemented earlier than they were scheduled for at Gamescom, and additional concept sales for new ships?
Yes.
They've got at least
yes and no is my answer. But Twerk, I'm going to let you say...
No. I think we'll see ships because I think the more they talk about the Rio, the bigger it seems, and the far like like I don't know, when's your prediction on when 3.0 is going to be? Mine isn't in fucking February, you know, or in January, like early next year.
I don't know. I know that
because we're getting 2.6 so early or so late, I guess. Because we're kind of expecting 2.6.
Realistically, I'm thinking end of first quarter 2017 for 3.0 now. So a lot of the.
I'm still thinking a little more optimistically, personally, but that's because I know that they're different teams.
Yeah, ships are going to move faster than 3.0, so ships will get maybe weapons.
Yeah, and that was this question is specifically about ships. Do you think that they're going to get implemented earlier than they were scheduled for Gamescom?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So my argument, I have an argument against this, is I think, okay, the same reason the Dragonfly isn't in 2.6. I think the Dragonfly is ready, but there's no point in them bringing it in because the mechanic's not in for the planet side stuff. And I think for a lot of the ships that they have on those slides from Gamescom is that they had those ships debuting with those mechanics that go with them, right? So they had some of the mining ships debuting with the mining stuff, and there's no real reason to bring that ship in beforehand because there's nothing you're going to be able to do with it. And just like the Dragonfly, I think that some ships, they'll just wait for the mechanic to come in, and there's depending on
out the Caterpillar then,
because
it's just a
big ship that a lot of people are really looking forward to. Right, and there's a lot more play to it than just. It's a very modular ship, right? It'll be able to be a combat ship or a boarding ship or whatever. The same thing as a Constellation or Starfarer.
So I think that the Dragonfly's not in because they want to be able to transport Dragonflies and other ships.
No,
and I think probably at the
they've
moment
specifically said. They've specifically said that it's not coming in until 3.0 because there's no point in bringing it in right now because they can't fly along the planets, and that's its main thing that it can do.
I kind of agree with Saurus. No, like specific ships like the Orion, specific ships like the Dragonfly will be waiting for mechanics, but things like the 85X, things like the Caterpillar, where the Caterpillar it's just another Starfarer, right? What's the difference?
But we do know that a lot of ships and reworks that weren't mentioned in those documents will also be coming out when they're ready. So
I think with ships that aren't reliant on specific mechanics that they want to implement with them, I think we are going to see a lot of the ships come out sooner than we expect. I think we're going to see ships come up through concept possibly quicker and go from concept to finish a lot quicker because they are always, even though they're extremely efficient on their pipeline now, they're always going to get more and more efficient as time goes on. And they're going to, that will start to plateau at some point, but I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that there's ships that are scheduled for 3.3 or 3.4 or something like that could come in 3.0.
Yeah.
So, and that's awesome. Paul Danino asks, what do you guys think of the Reclaimer arm thing? Do you think it will be used for more than grabbing ships?
Oh my god.
What?
Oh my god, that's the biggest meme ever. But
what is?
That's a meme. Yeah, but it's it's a.
I don't know what he means by that.
I think it's only for fucking grabbing ships. Like, do we think we're gonna use it for fucking? Like, what else could you possibly use
for salvage and possibly repair?
Possibly repair. So do you think that they'll have a repair?
I don't think they're Reclaimer. I don't.
Yeah. I think the Reclaimer is a fucking huge ship. It's going to be a treasure hunter ship, but it's also going to be able to have some modules which are similar to salvage.
I don't think so. I think the whole ship is built around having that internal storage for crunching up shit, and I think too much of the ship is it's too specific, and I don't think it would work as a repair ship. I think that's what that's what the Crucible is. Yeah, it's big enough, but the whole internal is made for crunching up stuff, and it has that sort of melt and grinder for that. There's no other point. Like, where are you going to put repair stuff on it?
It could be repair drones, even. I mean, the ship is very.
They just seem so in the opposite direction of what it's supposed to do. And
I think it's salvage is very similar.
Very specific.
But Source, what if?
That's like saying, let's make a Crucible salvage ship. It just doesn't make any sense.
The Crucible doesn't have the room in it.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. The Reclaimer doesn't have the room in it.
But the Reclaimer's fucking massive.
It's massive, but it's not swappable parts.
Well, we don't know that.
Well, that's what they've said. Right?
I mean, we'll have to wait and see. I mean, I'm willing to make a bet on you that we get a repair. I mean, I don't mind dressing up as a woman.
Yeah, I just don't. Things may change.
But your shit's
and it's not something I'm not going to bet on that.
Yeah,
but
that's kind of what we're going is you never know. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I just how they've explained it. I don't think they want every ship to be super modular. Otherwise, it gets rid of the reason for a lot of the ships.
Yeah.
But yeah, memes be memes. Steve J 1397 says, "Do you think that the procedural satellite system will also be used for full space stations?" Yes.
No.
I think that the same system can be used for that. They just need to make more assets for those space stations.
Yeah. Did you spellboard?
I've got a dead crab on the floor. A Thorshu Grey has lost its life.
Did it break?
It'll be fine. It'll be fine. He's just sleeping. He's sleeping with the fishes in the fish tank now.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know if it'll be. Yeah, they have to make more assets. Like the same thing can't be. They're not going to make the small pieces into a giant
program.
space station.
But I think the program that they're using for that, and
be.
the general idea behind it and how it works it just makes sense. They just need to make some of the parts bigger. And I think even with some of the space stations, the satellite systems, they do have larger parts for. We have seen larger parts for, so I don't see why they wouldn't be able to do that. Right now it is the space station system, right? Like it doesn't just do satellites, it does full space stations. So I think it is the same system.
I hope so, because it seems like it's a quick way of doing stuff.
C Dizzle asks, now that Twerk, Bored, Mitouchi, and WTFOSAURUS are all partnered, do you guys plan on having sub wars in Star Marine? Like BoredGamer subs versus Twerk subs and so on.
Oh, fuck yeah.
I mean, whether we're partnered or not, I think we're going to be doing that with anybody who's able to put a team together. I don't think a partnership really has anything to do with that, right? So
I think what the partnership represents is that the Redacted crew that we put together is a nice group of solid ass content creators. So good on everybody.
I think that's what that
watching my channel if you're good at the game. And then I want to get the proest team and kick these fuckers' asses. Yeah, come on, guys, let's do it. So I do it, face.
But no, I think that's something we're planning to do anyways. I think it's something we want to do wherever we can overlap any of our time zones. I know it's been incredibly difficult for me to get Bored or Twerk on when I'm playing because their time zones are different. So it's less to do with people being partnered. And more to do with who is going to be on at the same time, right? Like, for example, Mitouchi.
Same anyway.
Right? So Mitouchi has overlaps with me. BoredGamer overlaps with Twerk, and then there's people from outside of Redacted that we're going to play against as well. I know Keencast, for example, likes to play a lot of FPS, so I imagine he'll be in there. I know Chubby Defender likes to play a lot of FPS, and if we have maps that are 4v4 and stuff like that, there's no reason why we can't do little things of team versus team, or even within a single community. Like my community, for example, I could put together several 12-player teams or several 4-player teams.
Devs versus Redacted.
We're definitely doing that. Jeremiah knows we're definitely doing that.
He said, "I'll just put in 5 Bengals." What?
And the thing is who knows? That could become a portion of the podcast.
Yeah.
Right.
Guys, 19
where this is a time where we can all sort of be on together. And CIG happened to take their lunch break at the same time, and we can all play a round of Star Marine or whatever together, and that would be really cool.
For sure.
Commander Riker asks, hey guys, what additional gameplay do you think exosuits or the Titan suits will provide, and how big do you think they will be? Foresee any ships dedicated or catered to players using combat or industry exosuits? And the notes on that are exosuits or the Titan suits were the 52 million stretch goal.
I think they're going to be big, and I think the best is that.
Like, do you think they're going to be Titanfall Titans big?
No,
I don't think. Or do you think they're going to be like
just
Alien?
Yeah, maybe more Alien-esque.
I think in between the size of a human and a Titan in Titanfall, like in between that size, not huge. So, for example, I believe the the Retaliator, the drop
the
pod
missile
module
bay
on that
will be
has
able to hold
room for a Titan Soul.
Yeah.
So it can't be that huge.
They could create another module for it that specifically holds 2 of them and powers them up or charges them or whatever.
Yeah.
And that would be kind of cool. And I don't think they're going to fit in all ships. I don't even think they're going to be able to get into all stations.
But they will have their place. Assaulting and defending ground fortifications.
Ground fortifications and large space stations, I feel, as well.
I suppose maybe on spaceships, maybe you could deploy them in like the hangar of a
Bengal. So you're implying that they can like EPA fly around?
I would imagine they would be able to. Why would
they would?
Yeah. And for space stations, they wouldn't need to, like, number one, they could have hangars that they would be able to go in, or hear me out, in, say, for example, in Korea. It would work
that would be cool to fight over a suit.
So it would work where they could break in through the windows and only be able to stay in that area where the cafeterias. They're too big to go in the hallways, but maybe stay in the cafeteria there, and be able to break in through the windows.
I can imagine them locking down landing pads and stuff, just being on them.
And being able to show some support that way.
Mm-hmm.
But if that gives you an idea of where we're thinking in terms of size and scale.
And let's start again with the we're not devs.
We're definitely not devs.
Make the game. We're just speculating on what we think
don't know anything more about the Titan suits than you guys do. This is something that they've been wanting
Carty build
to work. They've been wanting to work on Star Marine and sort of get all of those things done first before they've moved on to the larger things and bringing those in. Greek asks, has anything been mentioned about being able to create your character as a race other than human? I have a Banu merchantman and I'd love to actually be a Banu.
They talked about that post-release being a possibility, but for now we're just going to play humans.
And this is something we've talked about before on the podcast. I really think that this is a great idea for them to come in with an expansion or something later on, a year, 2 years down the road.
We'll get to be ninja pandas one day.
You think we'll be getting NPC crewmen as alien races pre-release or release?
Prior to that, possibly. I don't think before the game is out. I think all of your crewmen are going to be human.
Yeah.
I think on launch, all the people that'll be helping you out and whatever will be human.
Sisters?
But there's not going to be any hubs to betray you.
But I think that they would need to make
men as well.
And to be honest, I think the biggest thing for them would be the animations, right? The animations and everything for those other races, and unifying them the same way that they have the human stuff. And and then the second thing after that is setting up the missions so it makes sense in the lore of those things. So they could have a whole storyline, a whole story arc, or their own quote unquote Squadron 42 style game that's based on being a Xi'an or a Banu or a Vandul or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And they could very much do that later on. But I don't think we're going to see that on the release of the game.
True.
Our next question. Hey guys, congrats on the pleb for getting partnered with Twitch.
That was a long time. That was a long time ago. You got partnered, wasn't it?
No, well, I actually skipped over.
What?
Actually, before you jump ahead there, it does say BoredGamer in brackets. I just skipped over it to see how you would say this. On the topic of ArcCorp, couldn't they do something similar to GTA, where they have a lot of closed-off buildings and many shops spread throughout, so it would give you more reason to explore? I think that they may do that, and like I said,
I was gonna jump in source before you even start. They like Matt Sherman and Jeremiah Lee said it can't be GTA. Like we can't do that. It would take 50 years.
Yeah, it can't. It definitely can't be on the same level of how GTA is and how big that city is.
Yeah.
But what I do think could happen is they could split some districts up a little bit a ways from each other, right? So, for example, they could have an area.
Maybe.
Like the whole reason for the tram system in Terra, where you have a clothing district or a fashion district, you have a place where you buy weapons and ships and stuff
Gives
like
the
that,
illusion
and you
of
have
the city
another
being much
place
larger as well.
where you buy armor and weapons for FPS and so on, and then maybe you have like a social district like nightclubs and bars and a job well or whatever. So yes and no, kind of, if that makes sense. And that's sort of what I was going on earlier. All these worlds, asks BoredGamer. How realistic is that we will be able to live lives in Star Citizen that aren't combat or ship centric? Will my Star Citizen life be able to be planet or location centric? And for whatever reason, he wants it specifically from you.
I think that you'll be able to have things that are heavily planet or like particular area centric. Like the gameplay you'll be able to have on planets will be significant, but going totally away from spaceships, that's going to be a hard thing. That's kind of semi-integral to Star Citizen. I do think you'll be able to get a lot of gameplay without them, but you're going to be wanting to not avoid them unless you have some sort of weird spaceship phobia. But it's going to be a while off before you can have anything that is totally on planet for all of your gameplay.
Yeah.
Maybe one day.
Maybe one day.
Perhaps.
And next question is from Ninjitsu. And is asking Twerk17. Let's go over to Twerk here. Twerk, do you think that if CIG will make every planet a sandbox where you can travel everywhere, Star Citizen will be heading down the same path as previous games and possibly make it hard to come in contact with others in the game? So, for example, we know that they want to make... let's take ArcCorp out of this equation temporarily, and let's say Nyx, for example, a huge planet, or any of the other planets that have different biomes and stuff. Do you think that that's going to affect running into other players?
No, not necessarily, because the big part of those games that we've experienced before is that they claim they have realistic systems and the 4 billion stars and this many planets, and that's why you're not seeing people. It's not because the planets are big and explorable. It's because there's too many of them. Mm-hmm. And what I think is really great is what Star Citizen is doing is they're condensing the size of the known universe and saying, or the explored universe, let's say, and this is where we live in, and saying, look at all this gameplay I'm putting there. And you know what? If you don't want to see people, you can go to the fringe parts of that known universe, right? There's going to be places that are less populated. There's going to be places that are more populated. So on the more populated planets, I don't think you'll have any problem seeing a real player. What I kind of wonder is how easily we'll be able to determine between real players and NPCs. I feel like real players are going to be running more often than NPCs are, but I honestly don't feel that it'll be an issue.
Okay, so I want to add on to that, and it sort of tags on to what you were saying about NPCs. That's the other thing too, is a lot of these other games that are touting that are player-based and player-lived-in worlds only. There is no NPCs, or the NPCs that are there are very, very limited. So we'll use the example of No Man's Sky, right, where it's supposed to be huge and massive, and you're not supposed to be able to run into each other, not because the network doesn't exist, but because it's just so big. But they do have some NPCs. They have the little aliens at the little points of interest. Now, that being said, I think that you'll also be able to get away from people if that's what you want to do by going out into the mountains or by going out into the forest. I think for the most part, a lot of people, and you see this in every large MMO or any MMO with any sort of player base, is people tend to congregate where there's the most point of interest and things like that and just hang out there. Look at Orgrimmar, or I forget what the human version was, but that's where most people are going to go and hang out. I think that if you want to get off the beaten path and you want to go and do some exploration and you want to feel like you're solo out in the universe, you very much can do that. And you can do that now. You can go and quantum out into the middle of nowhere. You can go and fly around these relatively small asteroid belt that we have along Yella. We know that there's going to be whole asteroid belts that are going to be entire orbits right?
Yeah.
Which is way bigger than what we have at Yella. So, I mean, yes, you will be able to have those things where you don't want to run into people, but very much so there will be those points of interest, like cities or space stations or whatever, that will have a collection of people and NPCs as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, our next question is from Syracuse 23. And he says, do you think CIG will keep their current model of development after the official release of the game? Releasing weekly updates and devlogs and being transparent about all upcoming features and content? Or will they stop once the game is out?
I think they'll still be open, but I don't think we'll see weekly stuff.
Yeah,
I think it might be like a monthly thing. And by the way, there's 3 minutes left on the monthly giveaway. So, !monthly will bring the link up, and then you click the fucking link. There we go.
How do I enter the raffle for it? Is it !raffle monthly?
No.
So if I type in !monthly enter, will it automatically enter me in?
No.
I hate you.
So it's so for me, I think they will still be open about things and about what they're working on. But like Twerk said, I don't think we're gonna see the same amount. Like, we may not have an ATV every week, right? We're gonna have a lot more people, as I think a lot of people are gonna transition. Like, say, for example, a lot of the community team might transition into in-game masters and things like that.
Yes, definitely. I asked Ben that, actually. Remember the what was the board game that Clifford was promoting and we helped promote as well?
Star Traders.
Star Traders, yes. So I asked Ben on that, actually, and he said that's exactly what they think they'll be doing. Is like Ben and Disco and all those guys will become game masters. So,
yeah, and I'm sure they'll hire more people for those positions as well.
Yeah. They might be like the head game masters, right?
Yeah, and I imagine they'll have them around at the different studios for the different time zones.
For sure.
Right? So the game's always running. And they've talked about being able to randomly drop in things or be able to affect different things as the game's going live, or, being able to sort of change the way the game is played and making it feel more living and alive, which is really cool. So I think a lot of that is going to take away from them being able to work on videos and stuff. I do think that maybe we'll see a monthly or bi-monthly thing from them, or depending on how they go with the subscribers, right? The community subscribers, and how that affects and their content creation and all of that stuff as well.
Mm-hmm.
Banner Merchantman Lover 69. Of course, his question is about a Banner Merchantman. Were any of you surprised that the Banner Merchantman didn't go up in price in last sale? Considering it's effectively a discount voucher now and supposed to be rare, I know that they're against it. They usually charge things, but it seems like a mistake not to go up price early like the 890. I think with the 890, they realize it's going to get larger. Whereas with the Banner Merchantman, I think it's they either haven't had the time to even look at it, like they may have with the 890, or that it may not be changing from its concept size.
I think that they just were trying to sell more 890s without pissing off the community. They know that lots of people wanted 890s, so they charge a lot for them. They still have a limited number, and they don't give them lifetime insurance. And that combined made sure that
original 890 jumpers
didn't get pissed off. They went, they looked at them and went, well, we only got ours for $600. Fucking great. These guys aren't getting lifetime insurance or any of our perks.
And for the lack of the price raise,
huge price raise.
I feel with the lack of price raise on the Banner Merchantman and also other ships like the Reclaimer, I think will probably go up. The Orion will probably go up as well. The reason that they haven't gone up is I think a lot of the times the prices for ships that are going up, they tend to go up after they're made. So the biggest example we have of that is the Starfarer. The Starfarer was made, then it went up. When it became a live sale as it was flyable or in the hangar or whatever, right? So when those ships become flyable, because I don't think we're going to do hangar stuff anymore, is that is the potential when the banner merchantment will go up. So you got the banner merchantment at a discounted price potentially, because let's say they make it and they decide, wow, we need to make this thing bigger, therefore we need to charge more for it. So I think that's why.
And also, more so pretty much than all the others, it went back into its second phase ComSec. I think that's where the banner merchantment probably is now, or at least we haven't heard anything new from that.
Okay, so I see my CPU temperatures rising again. So this is what I'm going to do. We're going to do 3 more questions. We have actually 3 questions specifically for each of us, and then we're going to say goodbye. And unfortunately, because I need to figure out what's going on, it may just be...
Yeah, we don't want to damage the computer.
I don't want to damage my computer, and it may just be the silver stuff you put on in between the...
Thermal compound.
The thermal compound. So if that's the case, I'll be able to rip my computer apart. I'm going to take a look. I have a feeling that I hope that's what it is. I hope I don't have to replace the H100.
Stop talking about it. Let's go.
So, Twerk.
I'm feeling the pressure now a little bit.
Did they tell you not to do specific things while playing Star Marine when you were playing Star Marine?
Maybe shit. In fact, he didn't listen. No.
Yeah, there was a few things because they would cause issues. Obviously it was an early build, but I'm not telling you what they are.
Oh, shit.
Oh. Well, there you go. So, I'm sure you can imagine if you didn't see it, then he may on the stream from anybody.
That's not necessarily true, though.
That may not be necessarily.
Didn't do cover, and cover was not something that we couldn't do. We just didn't do it because we were dumb, and we were running around and trying to win.
Okay,
right?
so it's not cover.
Like we could have covered, but I'm not going to tell you everything that was on the list because that's internal stuff that isn't for everybody.
All right, fair enough. Next question is for me, and I don't know why, but whatever, I'll answer this one. Will there be facial capture technology similar to Rainbow Six Vegas or Microsoft Store Tech to put your face on a character? They do that with a couple different games. Fallout does it. GTA, you can do it, and whatever, and it is the Microsoft tech. From what we understand, they're not going to do that as of right now. It would be cool if the technology does get better and they can eventually do that. That would be awesome. That being said, CIG, I want you to scan my face in. Whatever, I'll come down to CIG. I'll pay to come down on my own and scan me in.
Your NPC would die so quickly.
I know, it would die so quickly.
I would kick the NPC in the nuts every time I saw him.
Thanks, man. Thanks, dudes.
Love you.
And our last question from Super Bored Gamer fan. This is to Bored Gamer, and this is
thanks, Mom.
Definitely not Matouchi. He says, "Now that you've conquered both Twitch and YouTube, what's next?" I'm gonna say My Free Cams. I think you should go after that one. Or Chatterbait.
Grindr, Tinder, all of them. I don't know. So, obviously, it's quite hard being such a multi-talented
Tumblr. I think you should be Tumblr famous.
Today, let's continue to do YouTube and content, and everyone have fun together.
Yeah. I mean, have you really conquered it? You've just gotten partnered,
Shut up,
you still want to get bigger in your channel on YouTube. So you still have lots of work to do.
Why are you going to be such a Debbie Downer, Twerk?
It's not Debbie Downer. It's that
I've done it.
I think you have goals that are farther than where you are today, right?
Damn it, Twerk. Don't worry. It's all about that YouTube and Twitch money.
You're being such a cock right now. All right.
I've got 14 subs. How many have you got, Twerk? Exactly. Shut up.
11. I have 11.
Guys, you guys are kicking my ass. I only have 7.
I think there's a long way to go with both YouTube and Twitch, and obviously it might be too much for me to do both of those. So I'm going to need help from you, the community, from Saurus and the Redacted community and Twerk and all that sort of jazz, and from CIG producing the great content that they produce, so that I can actually have stuff to make videos on. It's a long journey. Hopefully the game's going to be fucking great. And thank you very much for everyone getting me to this stage.
While I have you up here, why don't you let me know what you're up to this week and where everybody can find you?
Well, other than getting tutorials ready for 2.6 and stuff like that, because I want to get my head around exactly what I'm doing over the next month, because it's Christmas, isn't it? So Christmas videos lots more views coming in at Christmas. I don't know how to stream properly, so I'm going to be getting my stream ready for that. I'll be streaming on Sunday, and then considering streaming another day a week, so other than Tuesdays. So yeah, expect more standard Star Citizen content from me, but also that stream. Oh shit! I'll do that. I'll do that when you're talking about your stuff.
Yeah.
Work. Yeah, thank you. Genuinely, thank you so much, guys. I know I act like a mixture of a jerk and an idiot in beautiful unison, but you guys deserve it. No. Like, yeah, genuinely, thank you. Couldn't believe I got partnered, and for me, that opens up a massive, like, I can actually do the YouTube and Star Citizen content and playing computer games and producing content on that for a living, and you guys seem to enjoy it. So thank you. It is genuinely a dream, and really helps me mentally as well. You guys are the best. I will do that thing for you, Twerk. Where you do your
and
thing.
Twerk, what you just said, I don't even want to write it down. Yes, I was actually going to say that myself.
Cool.
And Bored, where can everybody find you?
At BoredGamerUK, pretty much on every medium. So that's Twitch, that's on YouTube, which is my main area of expertise, and then on the social medias, so Twitter and all that sort of jazz.
Yeah.
And please check me out because it's appreciated, and I can actually read now. So when people type me messages, I will be able to reply.
All right. Twerk17, what are you up to, and where can people find you?
So this week, I haven't actually decided what ship I'm going to be giving away, but we didn't do our monthly, I guess, subscriber celebration giveaway thingy that we do at the end of every month because of my work schedule and all that. So now that everything is slowing down, I'm going to give away a nice big ship on Sunday. I haven't decided what I was going to do yet. And as well, this was just a quick announcement that we've definitely got an updated Redacted store. Lots of new stuff in there right now. So I'm putting the link.
Is it? Okay, here, I'll pull it up right now. Is it Redacted or Redacted? It's just Redacted, right?
I put the link in chat.
Oh!
If you have chat up.
Yeah. Here, I'll pull.
We have a new link and everything.
I'll pull the video up there. We should also add everybody from everybody else's stores.
Correct. Well, I think the functionality is in to be able to do that now, which was missing.
Yeah, you just have to go to the other pages and then click the plus merch, and it'll put it in your merch store.
Also, the Redacted Patreon is right around 200. It might be higher as of right now. But
I was going to cover all this. You beat me to it.
Yeah, I just figured because we were in a rush that I would just do it in my section. And yeah, so 250 is the goal to get off of fucking Skype and get a proper setup. So if when we hit that goal, and we're hoping that goal is going to spread not just to Redacted, but also to the Space Bro show with Matauchi, anything that anybody else does.
I know
in the future.
Super Mac Bros is working on
Super Mac Brothers podcast as well, and any other podcasts that we do in the future with Redacted, because I think we do have some other ideas and little things in the works as well in the future. So please help and support on the Patreon and help make us better every day. Thank you so much, guys. And you can find me at twitch.tv/Twerk17, at Twerk17 Gaming on Twitter and YouTube. Definitely some YouTube videos going up in the next few weeks, I hope, if I have time. So, all right, on to you, Saurus. What are you up to, man?
So for myself, I am not going to be streaming after this for the first time in forever because I got to pull apart my computer. I really hope it's a thermal paste. I really, fingers crossed for me, everybody. Other than that, I'm going to be playing a lot of Star Citizen and everything. Like I said earlier, I did get confirmation this morning that we will be getting front page. So that means that's not only good for me, it's good for Redacted, so I can start promoting everybody on Redacted, but it's also great for the game as well. So I'm really, really excited for that, and that's a really big opportunity for me. So I've put some things in the Discord about that, in the subs thing. So if anybody wants to help out with that, that would be fantastic. I do have a couple new shirts on the t-shirt store. We have the Outlaw one and the new Christmas one. Those just went up in the past week. So if you want to go check those out, you can go to my channel and type !store in chat. And definitely check those out. But other than that, I think that's pretty much it. You can find me on twitch.tv/WTFOSAURUS and on twitter.com/WTFOSAURUS. I'm active on both of those things. Yeah, so hopefully I can get this fixed. That being said, if you guys are down to do a raid, we're going to raid somebody here. Do me a favor and type 1 in chat, please and thank you. I want to
Oh,
see.
also, my Trixie shirt's here. Yay!
And it looks so good.
The winner of the Gleam thing.
The winner of the Gleam thing is Matt G. Guys, you can go to the Gleam.io
Does it say
link
their-
and see if you're the winner. Please
Does it say their
contact
Twitch name?
me on Discord or on Twitch. Twitch message,
Does
please.
it say their Discord or their Twitch name
No.
anywhere? Okay.
It,
You didn't enter
it
with
does
Twitch?
For, it does for when we look at the back end of it.
Yeah, you have to
Yeah,
look at.
I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
I'll
yeah.
email.
Yeah.
Or Board, you can message him to get his
Okay,
info,
cool.
and I'll take care of it.
So I'm gonna pull up this stream. We're gonna go raid.
Raffle as well. Fuck.
Oh, the mod mic.
We're in such a rush.
Shh, there's so
Closing
much
it.
going on.
Drawing
Mod
the winner. It's the tiny lamp. The tiny lamp. So if the tiny lamp can contact me with your email, please get to me this week. All right. Thanks.
There you go. So we're gonna go. He's wearing your shirt, dude.
Is he awesome?
We're gonna go raid Dupes,
My brother.
his little brother. So he's playing a mean Guitar Hero right now. I want to see you guys throw up your WTFO raids, your board faces, and your gray A's.
Yeah.
Uh,
Let's fucking wreck his chat.
let's do this right now.
Hey,
All the memes. If you have the fruit meme, put the fruit meme too.
the fruit meme is the best meme, let's face
Fucking
it.
fruit thing is
Fruit
awesome.
memes. I gotta find in my sea of emotes here. Where is it? Board face. I like how you just called it board face.
Yeah.
It's like,
He's not creative.
it's not like board W or anything. It's just board face. So let's do that, and we're gonna host him now. Thank you so much for coming by and sticking around, even though my computer crashed a couple times. We love you guys, and we will see you next Wednesday. Remember that if for whatever reason I am on front page, the podcast will be here. All right, guys, take care, and we will see you later.
Bye, everybody.
Love you. You're the
Should
best,
wave
guys.
bye, wave bye. Ah. Did you host them?
Kifu.
Oh, I need to do that, don't I? Yeah.
Yeah.
No, he's done. So
Host, and then I'll stop. We haven't stopped the stream yet. Before
There we go.